Those things are not all supposed to be running at once. In fact, none of those are supposed to be on at all, and I already checked and they shouldn't be on. Dear oh dear, I'm never going to get that fixed. How you doing, people? Welcome to the stream. It is a very exciting time, obviously, because it is PTS Patch Reading Day, which means people are going to complain a lot. Right, quick rules out the way. First of all, let's just say hi to everyone. Unforgiven Car Park, Duff, Kitty, Skellington, Roski, Visceral God, Blue, Juno Rex, where the fuck have I gone? It's me, actually. Don't say hi to me. Safi Rose, Blind Illusion, CDR Shadow, Pengu Vibe. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the shout out yesterday. We gave him a raid. Give him a shout out in here, please, for people. Gwendonism, Wish Dragon, and Mind Distortion. Welcome in. It has been a very busy day. We got Sofa Boss to fuck because it was the amazing Tony Silver's birthday today, and we had stuff and things to do. This is too loud. But I'll let her explain that when it's her stream. I assume tomorrow, depending on what happens. But hang on, I'm adjusting the sound. There we go. We knackered ourselves out with too much food, so we fell fucking asleep. Cripple Punk, how you doing? Quick rules. James Bond, welcome in. Do not, I don't care if you've read it or watched the live streams or whatever, do not get ahead of the streamer. It is disrespectful. I don't appreciate it. I will be reading these live. I'm putting in the effort to read them out and to go over them in real time, so don't get ahead of me. If you've seen it already, wait until I get there. Even a slight hint at, ooh, the thing that you're going to see in a little while is, don't do that. Mods will time you out. Let me get to it. It's like when you're watching a fucking sketch on stage and someone's getting to the joke that you know, and you're shouting out loud before they've got to go, hey, everyone's gonna love this bit. Shut up. Shh. We'll do it in real time. Yes, the food and the spirits, I'm glad I made it up the stairs. Oh man, I'm struggling. We had a lot of food earlier. I'm doing well. How about you getting there? Oh my god, I have to deal with this all the time, watching One Piece for the first time. Right? Exactly. You don't need it. I've been doing this now for 49 updates, so I know what to expect. Although, I'll be honest, last time was really, really good. Not one person got ahead of me. Amber Daylight and Smooch, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Here's an official ninja button because it worked earlier by accident. Loud, isn't it? 49? Yeah. I mean, technically speaking, not 49 of them, but I've been here for 49 of them. I think I've live streamed perhaps maybe 45, 46 of them. Something like that. I'm not sure. Excuse me. I have wind. I ran up the stairs really, really quickly and forgot to breathe. Should we get into it? Still awesome. Thank you very much. This will be on YouTube, by the way. So if you want to watch it afterwards and you miss some, obviously you can watch a VOD on Twitch. But failing that, if you miss it because it's gone on Twitch, because they do eventually, it will be there forever. We sipping tea because I need it in this amazing cup. Look at this. I know it's against the ESO policy to show Eve. It's not. But there you go. Another 3-letter acronym. That is an awesome game. Hi, Design Ninjas. Tiffany, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Sorry I'm late. You should be, Chemical. Welcome in. Is the music too loud, first of all? We need to set the tone. Is the music too loud? This is just to add some ambience rather than just complete silence. Toby Wolfchild, how you doing? I will fuck up my words. There's a lot to read. I'm tired. Just a tad. Music's fine. No, it's not. Oh, my God. So I can't win, can I? Music is good. Let's see what I can do with it. How about that? That better? You can still hear it, right? I basically found the soundtrack for The Elder Scrolls Online, which is very fitting. I use it every time we do a patch note stream, to be fair, just to make sure it's not complete dead silence, because that's boring. I hope Tony had a great birthday. You'll have to ask her. I was there, but you'll have to ask her. We had a lot of food and a lot of walking, and we fell asleep. And that's why I didn't stream when the patch notes went live, because technically speaking, I stream around now anyway. But we were already beat. Right, what have we got, people? I've done a video for this already, briefly, explaining what we can expect following their announcement, but this is more detailed, so there's going to be a lot of stuff to go over, and again, if you've read this already, do not spoil it for the viewers. I'm reading it live. So, Update 49, Season 0, which is fucking confusing. Dawn and Dusk introduces a new kind of zone experience while also laying the groundwork for future seasonal editions. The season and update contain the following. Already, I did well, I didn't stutter any words. It's not going to be consistent throughout the whole stream, I'm going to fuck some stuff up. The Night Market Event Zone. Now, we spoke about that briefly on the live stream with myself and Mike Macon. That is a new experimental zone where there's going to be loads of stuff and things that you get to engage with. 3 different factions. You beat up bad guys, and then it comes back every so often, and it rotates throughout different seasons. But we get to mess with that. First wave of player experience improvements. First wave of class and combat refresh improvements. And introduction to Tamriel Tomes with the Tome of Dawn and Dusk. Introduction also of the Gold Coast Bazaar. So, new features. Banging. Now, There are brief breakdowns of Season 0 content below. However, if you would like a more detailed explanation, please click on this article here. I'm not going to post that in the chat. You can click on that yourself and go find it. I don't have a link for the forum because you're watching this live. If you want the forum, you'd probably go find the website. But you look up ESO forum on the website, on Google, and click PTS. This will be there. Where the fuck am I already? Large portion of the class and combat refresh work is centered around the Dragonknight and two-handed weapon changes. We outline number values and skill changes in the combat section for our patch notes because we're gonna go over that. PTS is actually live, as far as I know officially, so you can actually check it out yourself. And I will be, obviously, over the next few days, you will be seeing YouTube videos regarding that stuff, depending on time, because I'm working on a lot on the website at the moment. Website in the chat, there's a big revamp going on. A note for the PTS cycle. As we are working on both update content and seasonal content updates during the PTS cycle, various content offerings will be live on different weeks of PTS. We have made a note of those and the relevant content, but wanted to call that out here. Short version of what that means. Funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Did you stub your toe on a troll? The two updates are part of the same update, but they land at a different time. So the seasonal content will land on the 2nd of April, and update 49, which is a regular update, will land on the 9th of March for all platforms. So every single server. Everyone gets it exactly the same time. There's no 2-week gap anymore, so they better be fucking careful with it. So we are getting normal updates as you would normally expect, but the seasonal content is kind of staggered in a different date. So we'll get some of it straight away, and then some of it will kind of line up later. Clown Prince, Lenicus Maximus, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Table of content overviews, we don't need to read that, we're just going to go into it. Night Market, here we go. Please note the Night Market will be going live on January the 20th when PTS Week 2 goes live, so that's when you can test that. It will also remain playable on PTS until February 24th, so you got a whole month to mess around with it there. After the PTS cycle officially ends, for players who wish to get more testing time, we're providing a Night Market information now so that you have additional information on what to expect. I see, so if you want to use your time wisely, they're going to give you kind of a heads up on how it all works. Excuse me. Rob, JD, Cat Dog, welcome in. Night Market available trade variable, no valuable. Trade hub for all manner of goods, both wordy and worldly. I said wordy. Let me zoom this in a bit. Can I zoom this in? There we go. Worldly and Daedric is in constant flux as different patrons vie for control of the resources. 3 factions. There is a power vacuum currently within the market as the former leader has disappeared, and 3 rival patrons, have laid claim, hello, motherfucker, to a mantle of leadership. These claims hold little sway as malevolent forces have pushed their way into the market and districts. What? Pushed their way into the market and districts have fallen. Okay, so I misread that a little bit. It's PTS today, so they can find those out. This is true. Patch notes, Kitey's happy. Thank you, Sleggy, for the resub. Massively appreciate being cake in the chat. Welcome in. Buddha farted. How you doing, Buddha? Mortals are normally shunned from this area and Fargrave, but the patrons have opened the pathway to hopefully entice their aid to become the ruler of the market. So Fargrave, you know the kind of Nexus-looking area where you thought there was going to be extra stuff? There's more stuff. New zone type. Brand new zone type called Event Zone. Basically, the way I'm going to describe this is the way I see it is basically live PTS. We get to engage with stuff that they might be thinking about releasing overall, but they turn it into a challenge area, so we actually get to test it out. That's the polite way of putting it. Sleggy's the Dragonborn. Mike Maker's in the chat. Give him a shout out. Brian read that one already. More difficult than your average zone. You will want to find friends or tag along with other adventurers to brave these challenges. Pledge to Patreon and engage in activities to win favor of the chosen faction. Motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker, to you as well. Glittering Goad. The Glittering Goad gets its name from the amassed wealth of their faction. The faction primarily runs the auctions and stands within the night market and takes its own cuts. Sneaky. Prestigious auctions seek out Glittering Goad members to sell their wares as they are sure to fetch the best prices. You heard it here first, people. They said best. They are... What is this word? Mike, explain this word to me. I'm not going to pronounce that because you're going to say I said it wrong and I summon a demon. Believe in anyone has a chance to make it big at the night market, provided they pay for the privilege. I love getting Mike to explain stuff. It's funny. Whenever there's a big word, instead of saying it, I get Mike to explain it to the audience. We need to get a voiceover specifically for Mike. Get an AI bot or something to say big words. I'm not going to go over the different patrons. They're different stuff. Faction seeks control through strength. They want a cut of everything. Sold and offer protection. So mercs, Phasmos and faction nearly old as night market itself, comprised of small and skittering and insignificant, but in those numbers, great power. They have banded together and to blunt the strength of other factions by seeking knowledge in the crevices of information overhead to conversation. So these are sneaky, sneaky bastards. These are... Where the fuck did I get to? Mercs, and these are traders. Why not? Could AI Mike truly replicate the awesome amazingness of Mike's description zone? Yes. It's a form of government where advancement is through your own efforts, your merit. Sounds a bit shit. Advancement is through your own efforts. So no one's in control of it whatsoever. You got to do your own shit. You're a mug. 3 themed districts to explore. I told you there's going to be words jumbled up here. The Parch, Skitteran Precinct, and Sorrow's Fiend. Again, we can't really see any of this at the moment. We're going to see it on the 20th of January, but there's an overview on all this kind of stuff. This is the interesting stuff. The bits that are going to happen. Fancy word for achievement furniture, pretty much. Militaries are generally meritocracies. Sounds Greek, Mike. As opposed to aristocracies, where advancement is due to birth. Oh, I see. So Jon Snow. Kind of. Except in reverse. No, it's not even in reverse. No spoilers if you haven't seen it already. I finally did. Bosses and challenging monsters. Faceted, brazen agent, and calamitous monsters stalk the streets. Daring races. How quickly can you traverse and survive the winding streets of each district? Oddities to challenge those more puzzle-oriented. So puzzle-based PTS. Speed-based PTS. Monsters-based PTS. This is PTS. Jon Snow, I wouldn't know. Of course you wouldn't. Skirmishes, the new public-style events with goals to accomplish when they're available. So, hit it when it's there, not when it's not. 4-player bosses. You know this is like PTS for dungeons, right? Guilded monsters in each district is specialized instances for 4 players. 12-player trial encounter. So, I've already said this before. This is clearly what this is. They're labeling it as an event zone, which it is, and they're giving us rewards, which is great. But what they're really doing is giving us rewards for getting involved in PTS stuff because there's just not enough people doing it on PC. That's what it feels like. And we've claimed, well, we say we've claimed, many people have claimed they want PTS on console, which is almost impossible to do because it wouldn't make sense. But now that they've lined all the patches up so everyone gets it at the same time and introduce a new event zone, we've kind of got a, we're working on a dungeon but don't know what to do, so here's some bosses, we'll try them here. Here's a trial, here's some bosses, we'll try them here. And it seems like they're giving us kind of test areas to try out potential new content before it happens and then rewarding us for it. So with these in mind, it looks like puzzles, quests, dungeons, trials, and potentially arena stuff when it comes to this survive and gauntlet type thing. So I see infinite archive, dungeons, and trials. Not a bad thing. Interesting twist on it, but it is what it is. Unlocks rewards. Boons activities will grant powerful effects within the night market. Stacking these effects could be key to your success. Synergies and buffs from Infinite Archive and Maelstrom. Favor earned with your chosen faction to unlock new items to purchase on your faction vendor. The Knight's Den, a new house. Alright, we'll take that. Relics. Each district has an unlockable relic which will allow you to press deeper into the district and explore new areas. That's progression. Mike? Anyone else? The fear is real. This here spells exactly what I was worried about. And it's not to say it is happening, but that to me looks like a keying system. So EverQuest, for example, linear game, very, very old school, very amazing game, nothing wrong with it. But generally speaking, you can't access certain content unless you get X, Y, and Z done first, unlock a key for your account, you're now flagged for it, and you can go in. That looks exactly like that. That's what that is. That's something we don't have in Elder Scrolls Online, and that looks like that's what that is. Which means we are leading down the path that I mentioned about on the stream that me and Mike were on recently, where they are shifting the tone of the game and its horizontal progression into that of something that could be considered later somewhat vertical. Or at least key-based, so content has to be done before you can go into it. Technically speaking, while that does go against their initial design, if this is the case, because they're testing it, that may actually end up turning things on its axis, because while you've got these shit canoes shouting, have you got this achievement, otherwise you can't join, I mean, that's a fake parameter to fuck with. It doesn't really hold any merit or weight or anything like that. It's just someone deciding, well, I need you to prove you've got it done, which doesn't prove anything. You could have been carried as fuck. And not to say that that could still not be the outcome, but if there's a key-in process or something that you have to do first in order to unlock the content, then the only people that will be able to go in there are the ones that have got access to it. So it's kind of like a built-in gatekeep, so to speak. Not to say that was bad in other games, it's not, but it looks like they're shifting and adding that. Mike, tell me I'm incorrect. I still need to back and watch the stream. Do you? Dude, I'm gonna read coherently today. And you're Samsunging me in my own chat. I still need to back and watch that stream. I'll make sure I do it tomorrow. Your second part of the sentence was great. Well done. Even more to discover within the night market. That is broad, but whatever. Or vague even. This here, Mike, and everybody else looks like a keying system, which is that of linear games. We'll see. At this point in time, I don't think that's necessarily going to be a bad thing, but that is a slippery slope when it comes to the rest of the content. Anyway, achievements. We can't go through all these, obviously, because we can't really see them. But, I mean, you've got night market achievements here, which obviously gives you the whole when it's live, go and do it type thing. The slight FOMO, the complete opposite of what they said in the first place. They were trying to delete FOMO, but now they're adding it because this will only happen during those events, and those events don't stay there forever. They'll be back, but they don't stay there. So they give you a bit of a rush to try everything out. This is incentive to test stuff for them, basically. Even Zion Ninjas. Scott Tillier, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Collectibles. Can't really go into them because we can't see them, but there's collectibles to get. Furnishing. Obviously, now everyone wants to play it. Great. Skill styles. Oh, man. 12 Dragonknight related skill styles are available to purchase from the Style Master vendor. Those who have mastered Dragonknight class and subclass. Banging. Spitfire Mouse. Thank you very much. Thank you for the sub. You're a legend. So they're hiding skill styles in there, which obviously unlockable stuff in the game is going to be chased, and rightly so. I think that'll be the blue one that they demonstrated in their stream, so that'll be cool. How to get started. Navigate the Eastern Firegrave or use the icon on the Firegrave map to teleport directly there, then speak to the curator at the entrance. Remember, this is 20th of January. This goes live, so PTS week 2. 12 is juicy number. Hell yeah. It is. Lurking and working. Dragon, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. As a console player, I actually like PTS-esque nature. I like the idea of allowing us to mess around with stuff prior, but it's a slippery slope. I see what they're doing, but also it's going to give people other stuff to do, but it's not the content they would normally expect. We got to hype train people. If you're testing all the time, when are you playing? And I know you can argue that you're playing that, which you technically are. It feels like a shortcut. It feels like they can't get enough people to play PTS because they can't. Like the first day is usually full as fuck. And then this is from fucking years of experience, by the way. I spend an unhealthy amount of hours on there. But the first day, it's flooded. Everyone's pressing new buttons. And after week 1 of PTS, it's dead. It's absolutely dead. There's like 5 fucking people on there. And I think they're trying to encourage more people to test stuff for them in the long run. And obviously they will, especially giving them incentive to try. But that doesn't hold a lot of confidence when it comes to the QA side of things. Because we know they're obviously very good at what they do. And they do need a larger live audience to test stuff. But that could end up... It could end up really, really good. But it also could end up with people getting exhausted with constant stuff that's not staying. Also, thank you very much indeed for the sub. Massively appreciated Beer and Cake in the chat. 0 to 100 and Games 14159. Thank you very much. If stuff doesn't end up in content, you might get people saying, and you do because people are fucking entitled, you might end up with those, well, what's the fucking point then? Tried that for ages, gave feedback, no one listened just because they didn't get their own way, and then it doesn't happen, so then you got another argument to have. So you gotta be very fucking careful how they address this. Polar Bear, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I'm open-minded to it, but I can see it for what it is. The Update 49 PTS season, as well as Update 49 PTS Time Real Time, will go live on the 27th of January at 10 a.m. ET. In addition, please note that the Update 49 PTS Time Real Time is not fully representative of Season 0, Time of Dawn and Dusk. That goes live on April the 2nd, 2026. The goal for is to test functionality and address any bugs present in the time functionality. This is the most positive thing I've seen so far. And this is them actually stating the obvious, but something that people don't fucking listen to. And that is PTS is not practice. PTS is for testing. Public test server. Test it, See what works, what doesn't. Give feedback. Don't go on there and just run a fucking trial for 6 weeks and then count your first pass on the console or PC as world's first. You've been practicing for 6 weeks. It's not a practice server, it's a testing server. So while things do need to be completed in order to test stuff, it doesn't then mean it's a practice field for you. It's been abused for fucking years. It's really annoying when it happens as well, because some people don't necessarily give feedback on what they've found, which means some things go through to live that shouldn't do, and then they get to fuck with it in its state. Season 0 is such a weird way to name it. Already went over that on a YouTube video a couple days ago, which was actually a live stream with myself and Mike. If you've got time later on, watch that. Put exclamation point YouTube in the chat. Good about the PTS this way. At least we keep what we earn, even if we may not stick. This is true. You get to chase achievements and try stuff out, which is just... They know that players can't be fucked to try stuff more than one day, so if they tie achievements to it, then people will try stuff for longer. It's a positive for them, but it also might... it might mess with people's minds a little bit when it comes to, oh, what's the fucking point? I've got achievements, yeah, but that content I was looking forward to isn't happening. And that can go the opposite direction, but that's just people being people. We'll see what happens. It's not necessarily saying it's going to do that, but you have to understand the stupidest person in the room and also people's patience levels. If they try something and test it and test it and test it and it never goes live, regardless of the achievements they've gained, they may feel like it's not worth their time. And that is what they already feel on PTS. So it's the right way to encourage people to try, but it also eventually is something that just goalposts is moving from one to another and we end up back where we were. Hopefully not. Big beta season testing vibes? Yeah, exactly. Something that they want to offer is transparency, and it feels like they want to be relatively confident, but when they are too community focused, it shows that they're not sure. But we'll see. Time Real Tomes are a new way for players to earn a wide array of rewards for engaging directly with ESO's content and systems. Read more below. I'm not going to go over this too much because this is quite in-depth, and I've already gone over this on live streams previously, but basically this is the Battle Pass. 3 different versions. You've got the free version where you get free time, and then you've got the paid version, and then you've got the paid premium version. It's not ESO Plus. ESO Plus is separate. I do believe it would be much better if they had play for free with 1 free time. ESO Plus, the paid Battle Pass, and ESO Plus Premium for the big one. But they're not doing that right now, and they've got 2 separate payments, and that has, to be fair, rightly so, warranted some scrutiny regarding that particular system, but we'll see. First attempt at a season, they named it. Now Season 0 redacts the thought of naming seasons. Into the future, seasons will just be numbered. I mean, it would be fair enough if it was numbered in the first place, wouldn't it? So the first season we actually had, because we were there. We weren't, don't gaslight us into us pretending we weren't there. We were there. We saw it. It broke as well. We saw it. But having 1 season and then calling the next one 0, you're trying to sweep it under the carpet. Is it okay? First, I'm level 30 and still in Stonefalls. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. ESO Plus for me is just for the craft bag, to be honest. This is true. But if they lined up the payment a little bit easier so it's in one place rather than not, that would save people hassle, because people have got enough subscriptions. You don't want to pay 2 subscriptions for the same fucking thing. I don't mean for the same rewards, I mean for the same system. Game, in essence. I wouldn't pay twice for any other subscription. I would like it to be consolidated. Just numbering the seasons gives no immersion into the content. This is true. 2 direct debits. Exactly that. You see what I mean? Would you pay 2 direct debits for Netflix or Disney or anything like that? No, you'd pay for 1 special one. Because everyone wants the premium, if they can afford it. And if they tied ESO Plus and Battle Pass directly together, rather than having that awkward get 12 months, get 1 free system, I think that would make a lot more sense to people that don't understand it, and it would be a lot easier for people to manage, especially when it comes to their bank and bills. 1 direct debit, you'd be like, oh, it's a bit more expensive than I wanted, but we get more stuff. Instead, it's like, you have to pay 2 now. Whether you're paying the same amount of money as you would be or not is irrelevant. The point is it's 2 payments, and that's just more complications for people. And especially when they're like, oh, I need to cancel my ESO Plus because the bill's coming out. And then they forget they've got Battle Pass as well. They need to clear that. And it's like, you might cause more problems than the ones you solve. I mean, you might cause more problems than you solve problems. Everyone will have access to the free side of Time Real Time, which offers rewards, which I just said, new cosmetics, seals, trade bars, etc. Trade bars is a new currency, by the way. Event tickets are going away. These are uncapped. A paid upgrade to premium version will also be available, offering additional cosmetics and rewards. The Time Real Time will change for each new season. However, if you decide to purchase the premium tome, it's yours to keep forever. You can come back to it and continue its progress at any time. So there's a little less FOMO there when it comes to being able to rejoin something that you previously encountered or previously started to play. But who is that? Birthday shenanigans, Batman. Prime sub, thank you very much. You're an absolute legend. Refresh your stream, you don't have to watch any adverts. I also don't like the free one. If you have the 12 months ESO Plus, it's like once. The more ESO Plus you've got and the less special that is, unless the free season is more often. Well, they said in the live stream that they can change it and make up whatever they want. The first year, obviously, we're not starting until April. We're getting them 3 months at a time-ish or per quarter. The next year, who knows? Hello, birthday. Oh, fuck it. Let's go through it. Trade bars are new currency primarily earned with or from engaging in terminal tomes. This new currency replaces event tickets and will never be sold for crowns. That is a positive. Event tickets, and I'll be honest, and I have been before, are shit and have always been shit. Why? Because they are capped. They're capped. You want to play that event all day long? You're capped after your first encounter. You've done that for the day. You can't do it until tomorrow. And then if you do, you get up to 12 anyway. And that has been messed up in the past. Because you might have had 11 and got 3 and you only get the 1 because the 2 disappear. Or you never play the events ever and you just throw loads of money at it. It was unbalanced. And there was no need for the cap in the fucking first place. They should have removed the cap the second they put that on the Crown Store. Because then people that play all day long can just stack them as much as they want. And people that have loads and loads of money were already stacking them as much as they want because they just buy 12, spend them, buy 12, spend them. That should never have been a thing. I don't want to hindsight too much, but that was a system that was fucked for a long time. Out of all the possible negatives that are coming from this, alongside the positives, this one is a major positive. Where they go with that as far as the story is concerned, we don't know, and I've already talked about this on stream recently, but removing event tickets, or at least involving us with something new and giving us a new currency that is uncapped, is a step in the right direction. There is a lot of stuff coming off the Crown Store. So there is a shift going on that they haven't completely explained yet. 12 is so little. The incompletable quest, if your limit was full, saved me a lot of tickets. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. I got exhausted with it. Whenever we sold to crowns. In addition, you can earn trade bars from in-game events and vengeance campaigns. So PvP people trying out the test stuff that is still ongoing, enjoy. You'll progress the terminal tome through a new challenge system that features weekly challenges and seasonal challenges. As you complete challenges, you'll earn tome points. Earning tome points will unlock further pages in the tome. Excuse me. And you can use tome points on unlocked pages to obtain rewards. I do feel like sometimes they over-explain. You could explain this a lot easier. You'll have access to 5 weekly challenges, refreshing every week. These challenges provide a wide variety of activities to engage in, and if you don't like some of the weekly challenges or are trying to sync your activities with a friend, you'll have the ability to re-roll weekly challenges. I smell re-roll for crowns. Hopefully not. Seasonal challenges will offer more specific or larger activities and will often be highly thematic to the seasons, current seasons, even activities and events. Unlike weekly challenges, seasonal challenges cannot be re-rolled. That already creates a problem. Not that it's something that necessarily should be there, but if you're going to offer a re-roll in one space and then on this same system not re-roll on another, you've already pissed off people because you haven't been consistent. Hopefully re-roll can also be gold as well. Gold would be fine. I wouldn't be mad at that. The weekly challenges remind me of FO76 event system with the re-rolling, usually 2 free, and then yes, you pay with atoms to get more re-rolls. Yeah, it's coming. They look like they are shifting a lot of the stuff off of the Crown Store and making you spend crowns in other ways. Could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. And don't worry if you're not able to play every day either. Weekly challenges will accumulate up to 12 at once, letting you take breaks and pick it back up when you are ready. Okay, fine. Finally, we are setting out to design the terminal tome. One of our main goals is to simplify some fragmented reward systems. To this end, we're removing endeavors, which we knew, and the daily login reward system from the game in update 49. So that will save a lot of issues in the back end, I guess, because they don't have to count for that anymore. You can expect to see many of these rewards, such as seals and consumable items, on the free side of the tome, but of these systems makes less sense in our new season world. Oh, both of these don't... Where the fuck did I get to? 3-sided time. Both of these systems make less sense in our season's world. We didn't want to increase the feeling of a chore list from completing endeavors and claiming login rewards all on top of completing battle pass. Basically, they just put it all in the same box. You still get to do similar shit, but it's all in the same box. Bear in mind, by the way, the endeavors that you can actually chase at the moment, while it takes you a long time to build whatever it is you're trying to get, which is fair, it's free stuff. When it comes to them offering you these in the new system, it'll be interesting to see the balance. Like, how many are you actually able to get now in comparison to how many you got before over that period of time? And is it? It probably is less. I would argue that it's less, probably, but in bigger chunks. PTS Online. PTS Online? I know. I'm aware of it. I'm reading the chat. I'm not reading the chat. I'm reading the notes. I can't be online there and read the notes at the same time. I have to do one thing at a time. Where did I get to? Gold Coast Bazaar. Gold Coast Bazaar, and this is the one I was worried about, is going live on the 12th. Once maintenance concludes. In addition, please note that the section of products and pricing on the PTS version of the Gold Bazaar is not representative of what will be on live on Update 49 when it launches in March. The goal for PTS is to test functionality and address any bugs present in Bazaar functionality. Look at this. First of all, you put functionality twice in the same sentence. Well done. Secondly, this is important because people do not fucking listen. Update 49 we're at right now, and people still can't manage to understand it's for testing. So things won't be exactly the same as it will be on live and can change at any point in time. You heard that, and you can see it in block fucking text. It's really, really bright. It's bold. You can see it, right? The goal for PTS is to test functionality and address any bugs present in Bazaar functionality. It's for testing. The amount of people that use it for other things is fucking crazy. The Gold Bazaar is our new gameplay currency-driven store, located in the Crown Store UI as its own dedicated tab. That's sad, because I thought it was going to be in the Gold Coast and you're going to go travel somewhere and talk to Khajiit behind sheets and shit. This new store is home to mounts, pets, outfits, and even gameplay items. All items in Bazaar will be purchasable with trade bars, which is our new currency replacing event tickets. Many of these items were previously sourced in Golden Pursuits in game events and promotions, such as Twitch drops, Amazon Prime Gaming, and Doritos, to name a few. I like the idea of having a Bazaar. I don't like the idea of not having a physical place to go to, because it sounds like a place rather than a page. And now it's nodding to Conan, which has a Bazaar, which is a page rather than a location, so they copied each other. My issue is giving people stuff that they weren't there for. And I know there are two different sides to this as far as people's opinions are concerned. But I think if you're going to say that something is limited, available only during this time, it's tough shit if you weren't there. And it's got nothing to do with saving your feelings, and that's everything to do with making sense. If you weren't there, you didn't get it, and if you were there, you get to flex it. I understand that they want to add loads and loads of event stuff and crown type stuff there and everything. That's great. Accessible for everyone, sure. But if you weren't there, no. The only thing that I do agree with is if they have event stuff that is specific to Witches Festival, New Life, etc., etc., obviously when that comes around again, that stuff will be back there. But if it's limited time only, you have to have the beta monkey or you have to get this, that, and the other. I don't think that if you're not there, you don't get it. Now becomes you can get it anyway, because that takes away the exclusivity of it, and why the fuck should you need to chase it? It's a waste of time. Like, hey, this is new, and it's only going to be here for 5 days. Nah, fuck it. It'll be in the store later. Creating a rod for your own back on that one. Gold Coast Bazaar has two main sections, seasonal and Gold Coast wares. See, it sounds Khajiit, doesn't it? Where's the market? Seasonal is a collection of cosmetics and items that will rotate with each season. You can expect this section to refresh every 3 months or so. My argument is this, right? You know what? I'm just going to ask the audience this one. How many people go to, for no reason, other than to have a look, maybe, the Gold Coast or Abba's Landing and shit like that? How many people go there as a chill? Fuck all. None. You're doing your quest, or that's it. Why not make a physical market in that negative space and make that zone more active? I mean, you just need to put down a couple of fucking tents with a couple of cats in dodgy outfits and have an accessible menu that you can talk to and buy stuff. He sells mounts, he sells fucking pets, he sells dresses. It wouldn't take that much to encourage or to incorporate that into the game, and it would breathe life into content or zones that are, for want of a better term, dead. If you're there on a regular basis, you might be convinced to look around and see some other stuff that's there, rather than just skipping it and saying, I've done that story. You'll be like, oh, should we kill a world boss while we're here? Stuff like that. It's not encouraging any overland play. It's just encouraging you to sit in the menus, which nobody wants to fucking do. Only use Anvil as an easy thieves den to clear heat. Exactly. It would be cool if it was like Skyrim where the Khajiit traders moved around. Or that. I mean, a caravan of traders moving from one place to another. It says Gold Coast Bazaar, so it would make sense that it's in the Gold Coast, obviously. But I mean, a moving caravan of sorts and like the dude in fucking Warframe was on different planets each week. Move it around and change the locale each time or the visual of it or whatever to encourage people to see different zones. Because lots of people might not even fucking go there ever. And if they're having to go there for something that they need to collect because they want to, because of OCD and fill-in achievements and collections, I mean, they might look around a bit more. Because there's lots of stuff that people don't even consider going into. Some people just do dungeons and trials and they don't go anywhere else. So they don't get to see the content. Here's an example, right? Fast travel is way, way, way too active, right? There's too much of it. And it makes the world feel smaller. That's the same for many, many games now and has been for like the last fucking 15, 20 years. But how many of you can remember going to the door of dungeons and how many people do it now? I'll give you an example. And you might be pleasantly surprised at this. Have you seen the entrance to Crypt of Hearts? Most people haven't. That kind of stuff gets skipped. People don't look around the zones that much unless they're doing quests or farming. Moving the market around, or at least having a location where it exists rather than a menu, and it wouldn't be that much to put into the game, would be something that would encourage people to see more. See the entrance, the spindle clutch? Fucking cave. Before now, nope. Go check out Crypt of Hearts, the entrance. And they'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. I've been playing this for 10 years, didn't know that. It's a cool entrance, it fucking is. Anvil Wayshrine becomes the new PvP hotspot, right? Move around like a Blue Ridge Caravan Company in Fallout 76. Exactly. Aren't there some in Skyrim that are only there at night? That'd be fun. Yep. I mean, there was a merchant or NPC type that keeps respawning and rotating in Hrothgar, but it's not a merchant as such. It's more for an achievement, which is weird. Entrance to March of Sacrifices too. Yep. Hi, Zan Ninja. So, Toba, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. That's why the entrance to some of the dungeons and trials now is a boat. Exactly. You just click on it and go in. We need to continue. Read that one already. Barakatu in Warframe is well done, and if it notifies you when he's coming, and I would enjoy ESO having something similar. Exactly. That's exactly my point. The merchant that appears every so often, maybe a caravan of merchants, and then you go to where it now is. Anyway, let's move on. The Gold Coast Bazaar is our new gameplay currency-driven store located in the Crown Store. We read that one already. No, we didn't. That was here. Oh, we did read that. Seasonal is a selection of cosmetics and items that will rotate each season. You can expect this section to refresh once every 3 months or so. We're seeing that one. Let's go down a bit. Skip this. Base game expands. These will be live on PTS on the 12th, so next week. No, today. 4 classic DLCs, 1 class, are now included in the base game. Players who do not own these DLCs will receive them upon their first login update 49 goes live. Warden is now free. Imperial City DLC, first DLC to ever release, is now free. Orsinium, which is their first kind of chapter model, they didn't call it a chapter at the time, is free. Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood are free. So this is the starting point. Eventually, I feel like they're getting rid of most of the Crown Store, and eventually they're shifting this off of ESO Plus, which begs the question, what are they going to do with ESO Plus over time if you're going to lose that much from it and put it into the base game? Big positive note, more people get to play more content, which is great, without having to pay for it. But as that slides off, they need to stack stuff on top. Otherwise, they're going to end up having to dump it. Arguably, I would still buy ESO Plus if it was just Craft and Bag, but it's going to put a sour taste in people's mouth if they feel like they're not getting as much as they normally would from something that still costs the same. So you have to be very careful with that one. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's fucking brilliant. But be careful. The more you take off, the more you're going to have to put on to balance what is moving. First, second, how about the traveling caravan also be a world boss, defeat that, and have access to the goods? I don't think people would like that, because if they're not very good, they won't get what they want. They know people will just pay for the craft bag. They will. Glitter and Ghost, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Facts, people already complain about ESO Plus. I mean, people will complain about anything, but it's one of those things where they're shifting stuff into a different place, which is fine, but if you expect everyone to still pay the same price for getting less, I don't think they're going to be happy about it. I would still fucking pay it, though. How many people in the chat, regardless of how much we complain about it, how many people in the chat would pay ESO Plus just for the crafting bag? Mine is 100% yes. I'd be like, well, you removed all the stuff off. I don't even fucking need it anymore because it's in base game. Well, you still have to pay a tenner a month. You get a crafting bag. Okay. I'll still do it. Not me. Lies. Definitely would. Yes. Yes. Nope. And I craft. Andrea's got like 4 million accounts. That's why. There'd be very few people that would be completely switched off from the ESO Plus, because, I mean, you get so much for it anyway, but they have to be careful where they shift one thing into another. New ESO Plus perks. Get ready for this. They're adding stuff. You definitely would. The team is still hard at work on a delivery system for the new ESO Plus currencies. Everything's currencies. It's very Fortnite. So you will not see these available to test during week 1 on PTS. We will update later in PTS cycle when these are available for testing. However, we want to make sure we outline what will be available to ESO Plus members when Update 49 goes live in preparation for Season 0's launch. Here you go. They should reduce the price of ESO Plus and only give you a craft bag. I wouldn't be mad at that. But that will be later, wouldn't it? Once they've finally shifted everything over to the free model. Maybe they're going that way. Who knows? But they're adding some more stuff anyway to kind of sate the loss. There are now even more reasons to subscribe to ESO Plus. More reasons. Oh, look. With all the new perks. In addition to all the existing perks, you will now receive these new seasonal benefits. You will earn 10% bonus to tome points from challenges, as well as 1 cache of tome points and 1 premium tome token per month. I know what that means. Some of you know what that means. But 95% of people just went, ah? What the fuck's that? Making it make sense requires you to understand how people receive information. And there's a lot of new, some of this and bonus to this and bits of that and bits of this. And you're offering 2 different direct debit payments at the same time. Someone mentioned that earlier. People are going to be scared of this. I'm going to have my work cut out to make a video to explain this in the most simple way possible. Much like we did with the season stuff last year, when it's too fucking late now because it's gone. Update 49 only. Reminder that 12 premium tone tokens allow you to unlock a premium plus bonuses tome for your choice. Let me explain what that means. No, let me not explain that. Let me explain another thing. ESO Plus, every month that you pay for, adds a notch to your little bar. If you get to 12, you get 1 battle pass for free. Premium one. So technically, if there was 3 in a year and you paid ESO Plus for the whole year, you would only have to pay for 2 seasonal battle passes for that year, not 3. So you get 1 for free. And they are cumulative as well. They're not in a row. They count, and if you stop paying ESO Plus, it still allows it the next time you do. It remembers. Anyway, new tripled cap on transmute crystals. This we have spoken about on live stream recently. I disagree with it. I am happy that you have acknowledged that we need to look at how many we can hold, but I do think the music just died. I do think that should be released completely uncapped. There is no need in shit for that to be capped. There are, and this is where the PvP has come in, there are thousands of PvP players that live in Cyrodiil, live in Battlegrounds, that get more transmutes than people can fucking count. And they are sitting on countless fucking mules in boxes, not being used, because otherwise they just get deleted. Make them tradable, make them uncapped. That's my answer to that one. I don't work for them, but that would be my suggestion. Release the cap, regardless of how difficult that may be. Code-wise, obviously, there's a lot of things that need to be consolidated here, and there's a reason for them doing this, but remove the cap and make them tradable. That way, people that don't get transmutes very often because they don't have a lot of time to play can access them in other ways, and people that do have an abundance of them can make some fucking money. New tripled... Oh, I read that one already. New furniture limit increases. You are creating a rod for your own back on this one. Let me finish. You've been so many, indeed. Some people don't make enough and some people have too many. The housing limit. Understand your target audience. Many people, especially the ones that shout lots, don't know anything about fucking games and their restrictions and limitations. Okay, especially with 15-year-old code. Mind Distortion with a gifted sub. Thank you very much. Look at that. 778 in total, people. Thank you very much indeed. Can we get a shout out for Glitter and Ghost, by the way? If you increase the limit on specific houses only, you are already creating an argument for those that wonder why there isn't enough in others, why they haven't had them too. Now, I know this is a first stage and they'll add more to it, which is great, but already you're going to get issues with that.
Motherfucker.
Also, where's the line on how many you add? Because if you add 50, someone wants 70. If you add 100, someone wants 200. If you add 1,000, someone wants 2,000. It's very difficult to balance this one. So while it is good that we're going to have more capacity, you're not going to please everyone with this one just yet. You probably should have done that once you've got them all sorted rather than giving it bit by bit by bit. We've already had enough bit by bit over the years, and now we're revisiting loads of old systems. I think this should have been approached with a, okay, it's done, everyone's getting an upgrade. You're welcome, indeed. But if you make them tradable, you might as well give them away for free, eliminate them altogether, and make Transmute free. No, that's not the same, because there are people that try to... Who was that? Woo! We got a dead Dragonborn. Thank you very much. Granars 211. That's a headshot.
Headshot.
The buttons aren't working.
Fight.
Fucking legend. Thank you very much indeed. You know the rules, people. The fight starts again from scratch. If you kill the Dragonborn, you'll take their place to stream. I have to kill you instead. Thank you very much. Plus, everyone's going to get annoyed about lag on dummy humps and longer load screens. Exactly. You've received a gifted stub. Make sure you say thank you. They wouldn't need to make them free. They still need to make them achievable. It's just that some people can't get them because they don't have enough time, and some people have too fucking many. There's an abundance of them not being used and not enough time to get them. So if you squash that together and make them tradable, then the people that have more money than time can buy off people that have got more time than money, and it makes a perfect balance. Offering them for free, I mean, who knows? Maybe they will eventually. It is what it is. It's a system they introduced in the beginning, and it's had a cap on it forever, and it's no need. Antiquities benefit. You can now... This I also disagree with in one side and agree on another. So, the pain point here is that they disappear. There's a timer on them. My problem is, I looted it. It's my stuff. All my achievements stay with me. All my loot stays with me. Why are my leads on a timer? Regardless. Anyway, they have doubled the timer. So they've acknowledged the fact that it's annoying that you have a timer, and instead of removing it, they just doubled it. I'm still going to end up letting them expire, because I will get to that in my own time, and my own time doesn't line up with what you've allowed me. So you're trying to delete FOMO, and all you've done is extended it. In my opinion. That will be helpful to some people if they're trying to get through them all and the time's starting to run out. Yes, but that's a very subjective position to be in. Tradable transfers would also balance the lack of loot in PvP sometimes. Yes, it would. It'd be really good. Solstice DLC, both western and eastern sides of the zone, is now included in ESO+. We knew that was coming because they do that every year anyway, but it's good to know. Skill Holiday XP Boost. For those that are confused, since they like to use different words to be different, even though they're the same, that is like rest XP, I guess. For the first week of PTS, we are testing a new bonus event to help you catch up in skills ranks for times when we make significant changes. This applies to changes impacting either the layout of a skill tree or the effects of given ability. Thank you for the follow. This bonus does not affect the progression of skills that do not directly depend on experience gain. For example, it will not make leveling Fighters Guild faster, but it will make ranking up Silver Bolts faster. Nor does this affect general XP gain. You will not gain character levels faster by virtue of this event. So basically, your skills themselves will level up faster, but the skill lines and your level itself won't. This feels like it's complicated for no reason. Catch up. Yeah, in a game that's horizontal. Remember earlier when I said that I feel like they're leaning into a linear model, especially with keying, which wasn't worded like that, but it was kind of snuck in there. This is along the line with that. Like, this is how they delete FOMO, by not giving you extra XP towards your levels or your skill line, but by making sure that your skills can level up faster so that you can morph them. I think that's unnecessary fluff layered on top of stuff that doesn't need to be there. Going to jump here. Extended the leads as long as they are is going to hurt people even doing them. they will forget about it. They will. Plus, most people don't go after leads more than once anyway. Correct. It should be something that's in your inventory. You tick it off. Done. Move on. They're trying combat gatekeep with gatekeep. Yep. Combat refresh. Oh, this is the fun stuff. FOMO is not negative. Gives you a choice on if you want to grind for something or not. This is correct, but they're trying to delete it. Those are their words in the streams. And unfortunately, while they're trying to delete it, they're offering lots of time-based stuff. So... Oops. Don't need a year to describe something. I mean, I do. What about if I get a really cool lead and I can't be dealing with it right now because I'm busy as fuck and I come back to it and go, oh, I've got that thing to do. I looted it. I should keep it. So does subclass level up slower like usual, or are they leveling up the same now? The subclass in itself, you mean the actual skills? Fuck knows, dude. I didn't even mention it. But there is a champion point passive for it. Delete motivation for grinding. I mean, again, Smooch, I'm not disagreeing with you necessarily, but I'm using their words against them. When they say they wanted to delete FOMO and then actually add some, it conflicts or contradicts with what they're trying to sell us. My concern is how they're going to balance that. That's all. I'm not saying it is necessarily bad and I won't play it. Of course I will. But they need to make it make sense. Dragonknight class and two-handed skill lines have both seen updates to their visual effects, animations, and audio. If you watch the most recent YouTube video explaining, it's like 2 or 3 minute long, explaining on my channel about what's to come. At the end, you can see a couple of the animations. VDX, thank you very much indeed for the sub. At the very end of the video, I show you a quick view of the DK skills. We haven't seen all of them yet, unless of course you're on PTS already, but they have got little clips of them. These updates range from simple upgrades that retain their original flair and flavor to some that are larger in scope and add completely new visual or audio language. Each of their class skill line passives now also include flavor text to help ignite your imagination. Now, we've already spoken about this a few times in streams. You see their word ignite there? Fire. Ooh. Imagination. Ooh, so I can imagine what I would see if I hear certain words. You called one of the passives Avalanche. I'm still going to sell that as a fucking annoying pain point. You are talking about fire and fury. Flame, ignite, burn, melt. Cinder. Avalanche. If you say avalanche to the everyday person, they hear snow falling off a cliff and knocking down trees and shit. They don't hear volcano. So that is... You had a table full of people shouting cool words and someone decided that sounded good. Warden, thank you. Snow. I'd have no problem with them putting them on a warden because it sounds like it makes sense. Snur? Jon Snur? Well, I'll give you more insight as to how their powers are contextualized in-game. Anyway, they should call it landslide, rock slide, volcanic eruption, something or other. I don't care, but not avalanche. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, have an entirely focused bleed class and then have one of the skills called magic fairy rainbow dust. I'm afraid it's the complete opposite, isn't it? In addition to this, many Dragonknight abilities and passives have seen functionality and balance updates in efforts to help reinforce their core identity. Cool word there. Which are detailed in the combat balance sections. We are going to go to that, don't worry. I love that stuff. Existing character progression of the impacted abilities and skill lines will be updated as well. We've seen this before, so it's not out of the ordinary to see stuff shift around. Characters who have leveled in an ability or skill line should see their progression respectively automatically. This applies to both specific abilities and their morph progression, as well as all 3 of the Dragonknight class skill lines. This should apply to all Dragonknight characters, as well as characters who have subclass into those skill lines. Thank you for the fart. He said, yeah, well, I'm not even going to get into that one. DJ, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Naming by committee. When update 49 goes live, a bonus event will run that keeps players catch up. Helps players catch up. I can read, honestly. Thank you for the fart. In skill ranks for times when we make significant changes to either the layout of the skill tree or the effects of a given ability. We had this before when weapon skill lines were moved around way back in one Tamriel and then in other times as well, where like poison injection is now the 5th one and it wasn't, and XP has to be shifted and stuff. So we're probably going to have to level up a skill or so a little bit more, or not if you're already maxed. But yeah, they've got to move stuff around and make it make sense. This bonus does not affect your progression of the skills that do not directly depend on experience gain. For instance, it will not make leveling Fighters Guild faster, but it will make rank up silver bots faster, nor does this affect general experience gain. We already read this bit up. Why are they... That was weird. Why are they offering exactly the same words as above? Whatever. This marks the beginning of a combat refresh effort that will go through most combat abilities and will continue as we work through other classes and skill lines. Okay, so they're adding new stuff. We'll get to it. Rename a Blast Bones to Hamster. You should do that. It makes perfect sense. That's my biggest fear. And it's not change is scary. Change is inevitable. Change is necessary. But if you don't make sense, people that have understood consistency over time in any capacity are going to raise an eyebrow. New homes. Can't look at them. Sounds mega. Probably can look at them on PTS though. Noble home can be collected and upgraded through quests and activities available from the night market when it is active, but it is currently unlockable on PTS server. Excellent. New furnishings. Can't look at them, so there's no point me reading what they are. Hamsters have bones. It fits too well. It does, but they have 4 legs. Mostly. Player experience improvements. The player experience improvements noted below are meant to provide reduced friction for you when you are engaging with ESO systems and content. The team selected those from long player request features. So the community's ideas, if you like, the community, as well as some of the most common pain points from player feedback. Bear in mind, some of this might be good, some of this might be bad, because the vast majority of people don't offer feedback. So it's a very select pool that this comes from. But hopefully it's cool shit. These improvements will go live in update 49, and we plan to address more in the future updates. Fair enough. With jurisdiction's application of necromancy. Oh, I can say words. Juricious. Is that the word you're trying to say? Fuck you, use cool words. A hamster. Dude, it's been a long day. I got power napped earlier. I am starting to dislike the term pain point, me indeed. A hamster can have as many legs as you want. Okay. Your hamster can have as many legs at once. Other people have to pay. Mike and Coyote Astronaut with long words. Camp-wide outfit slots. Now, this has got pluses and minuses, okay? Outfit slots are now account-wide, while appearance remains tied to characters. So, however many outfit slots you have that per character, but the appearance that you've made will stay on your character. So that character over there can still keep his costume, and this one over here can keep their costume, but they've got loads and loads of slots. Any previous purchased outfit slots have also been converted to account-wide slots, up to a total of 10. This is when you have to understand scale and consider the potential issues with this. So you need to be able to refund crowns. Because if not, there are people out there that brought 10 on one character, 10 on another, 10 on another, 6 on another, and 3 on another. They now have over 20 spare slots that they will not be able to use. Technically speaking, obviously this is a bonus to everyone, giving them all 10 each on every character, which is great. But if they've already brought loads, they need to make sure that they address the fact that they're going to have to refund the crowns spent. Otherwise, they did buy something that they now can't use. That's very dangerous. We'll just give them trade pass. Don't fucking start. Ouch, I definitely brought more than 10 between all. Me too. So they're going to have to go into code and into the accounts and now see if anyone has brought more than 10 in the past and refund them based on that. If they don't, that is going to cause a fucking uproar. Hopefully they have considered it. I would expect a multi-million or multi-billion-dollar company, because, you know, Microsoft spent a lot of cash on Bethesda, to consider the obvious, but it doesn't say it, so that is a worry. Give higher chance for shiny loot. Please, no. Back bar XP. This is something that is very positive and something that should have been there a very, very long time ago. I don't know why they didn't, but fuck it, it's coming. You may now earn experience on your back ability bar from all sources equally to their front bar. Developer note, the goal here is to minimize the mental load of trying to finesse having the right bar in front when doing certain activities such as quest turn-ins and others to maximize XP gain. This is not a bad thing. So I'm open-minded about it, and I am obviously concerned about things that don't make sense, but this is one of those things I will dump hindsight after I've said this should have happened ages ago. Okay, that's gone now. That's a good one. Bag and bank cost reduction. Reduce friction. We have reduced the cost for gold of upgrades for your bags and bank by nearly 50%. We like actual numbers, nearly 50%. Why would you do that? Tell us exactly what it is. We have also reduced the crown costs of bag and bank upgrades to... They haven't decided yet. Okay, so it's cheaper. Not a negative, nor do I really care. I'll be honest. People that are making new characters will probably be happy about it. People that are playing for the first time won't really know any different because it's the first time seeing it. Gold is different per server because the market's different per server, so accessibility to it through sales is going to be different. So one server might really benefit from that, one might not. It's a positive in one light, but just unnecessary. So will you get double XP if you have a skill on your front bar and back bar? So if you have a skill on your front bar and back bar, you will get the XP for that particular skill being present. If you put it on both bars, I wouldn't have thought so. However, that might contribute towards the skill line because you've got two of the same one. I think they'd have to try and figure that one out. I doubt it, but I don't know. I want a refund on all 20 tunes. Kidding, but my EU account will be happy. When I say account-wide, does that mean over all servers or just the one on your... So, Andrea, the outfit slots, generally speaking, are for that server. Anything crown-based is for that server. And this is where it gets really tricky. So I'm glad you brought that up. Crossplay, which is miles away at the moment, but on the horizon regardless. When that happens, how they approach that needs to be... It needs to be brushed over with a very fine-tooth comb, because if they get to the point like we are here, right? This is a very small side of things. Outfit slots. If you brought loads already, where's your money? If they make it so that everyone can play absolutely fucking everywhere and it's all merged together, or it's just cross-play, whatever the fuck they're going to do with it, they have to consider that every single server is separate when it comes to crown purchases, which means you might have a house on one server and the same one on another because you bought it twice. You might have this mount 4 times because you've got multiple different accounts and you bought it 4 different times. That doesn't become a you problem. That becomes a scale problem when they change it, because you would have doubles, which you can't have. So do you get your money back? That's really tricky. That is something that they will have to seriously look into when crossplay lands, because already you've seen with a very small system that could create a problem. And that is something that I've said for years. That was my main concern. If they do create a cross-play environment, how are they going to balance the fact that people brought the same thing multiple times in order to have it in multiple different locations? Can you just shift from one server to another, or is it all going to be smushed? If it shifts from one server to another, you're going to end up with one really, really full and one really, really fucking empty, and the other one's a bit vague in between. So... that's not necessarily spoken about in this particular update as such, but that is something that they really need to consider for the future, because balancing that could make or break the community's fucking mentality. Guild repping. Love this one. You can now show off your guild name without having to wear the associated guild tabard. Little late. Hindsight's gone now. Tabards look shit. They do. Is anyone in the chat, and I'm not trying to shit on the game, I'm being honest here. I've been here for 10 years. I'm capable of seeing things from all points of view, and I honestly do think, at least personally, the tabards look shit. Have you ever seen a tabard that looks good versus your fashion? Can you refund that? Exactly. It's fucking mental. No, they look shit. What I would suggest is to allow us to have some new customizable options regardless, and make the guild tabard, flag, banner, whatever, added to your banner from scribing. Instead of having the same visual for absolutely fucking everyone in a different color, I think you should be able to represent your guild on your banner. The tabard is now able to be hidden, so you can show off your actual fashion and put the name of your guild beside your name without having that horrible tea towel over your costume. Never bothered even getting it. Wondered that as well. I suppose you can select the firmware which home version from the different servers you wish to use, and others will be stored away somehow. I mean... Maybe you can have 2 versions of the same thing, but then that would create a massive, massive problem when it comes to their database, and you've got to consider that person's got that 4 times or whatever, and it's a mess. Always hid the tabard with costumes. Yes, you can hide it with costumes, but you can't hide it with your actual outfit stuff. So actual full character costumes do cover it, but the outfit system does not, and it looks shit. Now you can rep your guild without needing to wear it, which is good. Reminder, nameplate visibility is controlled in settings. If you have set this off, you will not be able to see that you are repping your guild. That means you can also rotate it, which is quite fun. Additionally, as part of this change, we removed the equipment bonus information from the character sheet and moved the Mundustone information into space it previously occupied. Okay. Developer note, we found the equipment bonus information did not successfully communicate the intended information. The space would be better utilized by pulling Mundustone up and expose some of the stats hidden under the line and required scrolling to see. Okay, fine. So this is just confused fucking everyone, but this is something that makes sense. Week of no pants. Streaking for a 7-day period. Nice. Guild trade listing. I don't really have a lot to say about this. There was no need for you to half the timer in the first place, and now you just put it back where it was. I mean, you could argue that that's a great quality of life update, but it's really not, because we always had this. What we get from this is, you should have never done this. Glad we got longer, but giving us something that we already had all along isn't doing us a favor. It's just fixing your mistake. I'll take the fact that you fixed the mistake. Development note, while sorry, read that wrong. While we did see some improvements to DB storage with this change, ultimately, the savings were not in line with player sentiment. Consequently, we have reverted to the 30-day listing window. Yeah, obviously it's going to have a database difference, but people want to sell stuff, and the guild traders move so fucking quickly. You've got 2 shifts of guild traders before your stuff is back in your mail. That's not enough. You need to be up for a longer period of time. People want to go farm stuff to get gold to then buy your stuff, rather than, oh, quick, I have to get it because it's going to disappear too fast. Question, when I said jewelry piece to research is the best way, just doing a quick chess run around the map, or no, actually, there are different, well, I can't voice them all today because I've got loads of other stuff to go on to, but there's actually different ways to acquire different types of jewelry traits. So you might want to look that up a bit. The regular ones, I mean, you can just buy stuff on the market. Buy a robust, healthy, and the magical one, which I've forgotten, arcane. Buy those off the market and then just research them. But also, since it's such an old system now, when it came out in Somerset, which is years ago now, you can buy the jewelry traits that you want off of just really trashy ones on the market and just research those. You've got options to go and farm the stuff. They do come from specific content, or just buy them off other people, dude. They're cheap as fuck right now. I have all my research on timers on my phone to maximize daily research. Nice. Hide armor. Now with gloves, boots, belt, pant, and chest. Yes, people. You'll be able to go naked. You'll be able to have your full armor on and bait people into a naked fight even though you're clothed. Asking zone chat for a master craft or a crafty one. Yep, all that. For our fashion endgamers, you are now better able to customize your characters by also hiding your gloves, boots, belt, pants, and chest at the outfit station. Note, costumes and polymorphs will override any hide function. I like how they've said you can now customize your characters for fashion. What they mean is you can go naked. No one's going to look at that. Prepares to go streaking. Conan naked? No, not Conan naked. That's jiggle physics. You go full on naked in that one. This is sold as, hey, people want to customize. No, they don't. No, they don't. They want to go naked. No need for Nordic towel. None. You can run around in your actual pants and be geared. I like what they're trying to sell here. Oh, it's customization because some people like to go shirtless. No, they're going to go shirtless, pantless, sockless, the lot. Let's not pretend that isn't exactly what it is. There are going to be a lot of people doing push-ups in fields. Note, I read that one already. This long requested new functionality to hide additional armor pieces will be granted to all players for free. Well, I fucking hope so. It's a base game system. Consequently, we're removing the hide shoulders from the Impresario's assistance wares, and it will also be granted to all players. So anyone that did already get that needs some stuff returned, but the event tickets have been removed, so that's not going to work. They'll get bars. Someone called it. Some of that RP now, right? Sockless is the new BIS. Improved sort order for vendors. While interacting with vendors, items you can't purchase because either you do not meet the requirements or are already at the account limit will now be sorted at the bottom of the list. Okay. Increase in furniture slots for house recategorization. Update 49. All homes, excluding current notable ones. So, not all of them. I didn't write it, right? All homes, excluding current notables. So, not all of them. We'll see an increase in their furnishing slots limits. ESO Plus subscribers will continue to have double furnishing slots for all home size categories. So, They have a set amount that they're increasing for the houses. The problem isn't that they're increasing it. The problem is that people will complain it's not enough. Nothing's ever enough. Look at the fucking vault. The vault is amazing. And the second it was announced, that's not enough. I've got more items. Yeah, you might. Those 10 people don't. Yeah, but I want more. Fuck, we're back there again. So anything that we get that's extra, people always want more anyway. So they're never going to please everyone, but at least you'll get a slow clap because that will make some people happy. It is a good thing. But this, why they didn't do this already, the notable homes one, I don't know. And this does cause a problem. You're giving people half of what they want. I would have suggested that they finish this first, include the notable homes, and then release it as an overall, every house gets an upgrade. Because you're going to have What About Me now, and that's a problem. What up, my boy? How goes the patch notes? Kick and base, how you doing? It's pretty good. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to all of it. I'm not skeptical, but I'm definitely level-headed and open-minded about what is and isn't happening. And we're just going through it now. I don't get why they don't wait and do it all at once. Exactly. And that's my problem. My problem isn't with this update. It is something that many, many people have been asking for. My problem is that you did half a job. That is, again, it doesn't necessarily affect me, but it is something that people are going to complain about. If you don't want things like this to happen, don't put your head on the chopping block. Finish it first, then announce, hey, we're doing the thing. Because if they said, let's consider this as a transparency indeed. Let's consider this as a new announcement right now, and you're watching a live stream where they announce new stuff. You ready? All houses are having increased capacity. Great, right? Yay! That would have been brilliant. But all houses except the notable ones. You what? I'm just saying as it is. That's where you are right now. So it's not a bad thing to have this. It's just you should have waited until it was all done. Now we're going to get people saying when and all that kind of stuff. So they haven't announced it with transparency. Increased transmute crystal cap. We already went over that. Whatever. Mimic stones and outfit tokens. So they have changed this. We have improved the sourcing of these items across the game, including golden pursuits. The Tamriel Time, Crown Crates, and more. Additionally, Mimic Stones and Outfit Tokens can now be found in the Gold Coast Bazaar for trade bars. You can buy them in other ways now, instead of crowns. We have removed the individual listings of Mimic Stones and Outfit Tokens from the Crown Store, so now you know. Where did I get to? Agree, halfway completing things is Zos's way. It's a bit silly. And technical problems with Noble Homes is one of the few points where they actually explain why they do how they do it. Yeah, that's not my point. Explaining why it's a problem isn't an issue, or isn't what we're after. What they should do is make it make sense, make it consistent, make it completely done, and then announce it. Don't half announce something, because that will cause community problems. I understand how games work. I've worked in game development for fucking years in other areas. Some of them I can't tell you about because they're still under non-disclosure. But I do think if they're going to use the words transparency, or the word transparency, we'll just go with one of them, then explaining why you didn't do a thing completely kind of lines up with that particular term. But when people say transparent, they mean, what is the whole picture here? When is it going to happen? You've given us half now. When is the rest of it? And we don't know. So you're half transparent. No, translucency, that's a ticket, indeed. I mean, adding more space is great, but I still stick with my guns on this one. You should have waited releasing this information and the update for it until they were all done. So it's your own fault if people complain about this one. Those are the houses that have been updated, by the way. At least I think so. Following houses have their size adjusted for classic to notable. Oh shit, it's even different. Look at this. House size category adjustments. This is different. The following homes have had their size category adjusted from staple to classic, and these have been updated from classic to notable. So even more stuff going on. We have tripled the transmute limit. We read that one already. Mimic stones we read through. Mounts for gold and faster ride and training. This is both good and meh. So they've introduced 16 mounts, and I mentioned this on my live stream with Mike recently, where we had like a podcast, if you like. That's on my YouTube channel if you want to watch that. That was quite an interesting day. They have made it so that mount training is faster. 3 times faster. Where did you get that number from? Why did you decide after 10 years of slow mount training that 3 times faster was the go-to? I still, to this day, think that there's 2 ways they can go about this. The simplest one would be increasing costs per level. So if you've got the gold, you can do it, and if you haven't, you can't. And if it's just too easy for people with that method, then have it per mount. Then you can go onto a brand new character with your special mount that you've upgraded, and that'll be fast. And the shit one that you don't like won't be. Either way, remove the timer. People don't want to wait a month or fucking 2 months, 3 months, whatever, to finish their mount stuff. They've got the gold in their pocket right now. Why can't they use it? Just, you're releasing caps on some things and putting caps on others. The 3 or 2 or 5 or 10 times change would never satisfy people either way. Just remove the fucking cap and let them spend gold. Written citations. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. 3 times the fun, I guess. It's a very odd thing to just throw a number like that and say, this is why. And not actually fully explain it. Yes, it's too slow for people, but 3 times is still fucking slow. I wish I could just sink all my gold into one and be done with no timer. Exactly. I mean, I don't know, 250 gold, and then 300, 350, 400, or even up in 100 at a time, or maybe 10 or 20% increase per time, eventually costing you fuck knows how much gold, but if you've got it, you've got it. Because what else is there to really spend gold on apart from buying motifs off other players? When it comes to in-game stuff, you don't spend gold on much. Especially since they're removing the respec cost. So, you got loads of gold. Cheaper bank space, cheaper bag space. You only really buy things off other players anyway. So the stuff that is available to you in-game, outside of fashion stuff and furniture stuff, etc. I mean, people have extra gold. You would think. But they're introducing 16 new mounts. Which is good for new players. Good for casual players that don't really do much in the way of, I don't know, buying crates and all that kind of stuff. Or even chasing achievements for mounts. But there is a problem here. They aren't 16 new mounts that nobody's got that everyone can buy. They are 16 mounts that were previously only available for crowns. And we've got this issue with what about if someone's already got it? Now, you could argue that maybe only one person's got that. But it's still an issue about scale nonetheless. If loads of people have already bought these with crowns and you're offering loads of new mounts for gold, they will feel like they're getting nothing from this update. So, basic or exotic, I think they should introduce stuff that isn't already there to allow everyone to be on the same page. Any spare 4k gold for respec? 3k? I don't mind, to be honest. I wanted it then. I spent the money. I mean, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the availability of a system that most people that have been playing for a very long time wouldn't be able to capitalize on. They can't take advantage of it. The way of gaming company that use microtransactions like crazy will do any change in favor of the players without keeping the money coming. This is giving with the right hand and taking with the left. It's a very tricky way to balance stuff. It is. It's great. If you're a brand new player, like, ooh, look at all these cool mounts. Yeah, great. And other people are like, I've already got that. I wanted to go buy some cool mounts as well. I'm looking at it from both sides of the coin. And this is going to piss people off. Not because they bought stuff with crowns already. That's not the point. I'm not mad at my fucking crown purchase. If I got a mount for it and it's in the store, what we do? But the problem is, ooh, new mount. Oh, I've already got them. Great. See what I mean? Ooh, new update. Mounts. Oh, I've got them. Great that new players get stuff, but I feel like you've kind of shook hands with the new players and spat in the faces of the existing ones. It's a good feature, but they should be stuff that no one's ever seen before, so everyone can take advantage of it. Each stable master has their new mounts visible nearby even, so you can kind of window shop. That's pretty cool. So you don't have to go into the menu to see what's on offer. Well, you do if you want to know the prices. That's not bad. It's a plus in many areas, but it's also going to piss a few people off. And I don't mean because they spent crowns. I mean because they're going to hope to go and buy something for gold that they aren't going to be able to because they already got it. Now, when you train... I've read that one already. Crown riding lessons still only provide a single upgrade. Did I read this one? Now, when you train Stable Master upon selecting capacity, stamina, or speed, you will now receive 3 upgrades instead of a previous one. That's what we mentioned earlier. It's a weird number. I don't know where they came up with that. Feels like almost everything they're going to do this year is focus on new players and they're kind of forgetting about their OGs. I don't think they're forgetting about them, but I do think there are some risks to moving things from one place to another and making it feel like some people just won't get anything out of it. feel like it won't be super flashy ones. Oh, there are. Ones we got excited about in the Crowns crates, then the card flipped, and we were like, what a lame mount. Yes and no. It's a balance of the two. And that's, again, a subjective point of view, isn't it? Because something that's really, really shit for one person might be awesome for another. Longer antiquity leads, I've already gone over this. This is a fucking stupid thing. I'm going to be honest, I don't like it. I don't like the timer in the first place. I looted it, it's mine, I'll do it in my own time. And now doubling it just gives me the same problem, except for more days. Anyway, intermediate leads now have 60 days to be completed, or 120 days of ESO plus. Advanced blue leads, 90 days up to 180. Master, 120 days up to 240 if you're ESO plus. And ultimate leads, the gold or orange ones, now have 180 days or a whole year for ESO plus members. You can argue with me all day long that they last a year now. It's mine. I should be able to do what I want. What about if I have everything for a whole year and I'm too busy, and then I go, oh, I'm going to do that lead now. I remember picking that up. I'm going to do it. I don't have it. I have to go farm the bastard again. You don't get stuff in your sticker book deleted if you don't use it for a year. So I looted it. I should keep it. This is complicating the system. I understand that there's issues in code for this, and that's why they had to do this and not. But I think they should look into that further. 365 days at that point, get rid of the timer. Right? It does suck. Have you ever looted anything in the sticker book and it disappeared because you didn't use it? No, it's there for you to have because you found it and you put it in your little checkbox. It's there. I don't agree with this. I understand there is an element of quality of life for this when it comes to people that are trying to farm multiples and they got too many and not enough time. But also, it's yours. Fuck the timer. The leads is not like their antiquity is moving. Exactly. I mean, and even if you fail, obviously the treasure itself moves and you have to find the new one. But that's all part of the scrying system. It's nothing to do with the lead you actually found. If you don't dig it up, it should still be there. Right? Exactly. You're halfway through digging it up. I'll come back to that. Unless someone stole it. In which case, get them, Andrea. Such a cop-out for ESO Plus members. You're polishing a turd. I'm going to be honest. You're polishing a turd with this one. Remove the timers. Remove the cap on fucking transmutes. Make them tradable. So people that have got millions can sell them. And people that have got fuck all can buy them. And change the stable master so that you can spend as much gold as you like to get it done. And increase the cost per purchase. And remove the timers. These are all pain points that they have mentioned in the past. There are issues. And I feel like they've not really fixed the problem. They've just shifted the goalpost. That's all they've done. Let's say, for argument's sake, the cap is 3,000 and people had issues before at whatever, right? What about when they get to here? And many already are. You still have the same problem. Just moving it. Magic. I think at this point, the cost of reduction for bags and research stuff, mount training should be account-wide after 11 years. Right. It should be either account-wide per mount, so that you can have your favorite mount on a new character and it's already fast because you invested the time in it, and the other ones are shit and you might want to, might not want to. Or, if it's going to be per character, just remove the fucking timer and just let you pay as much gold as necessary. If you scribe an antiquity and don't dig it up, the timer disappears. This thing shouldn't be here at all. There's no need for a timer. Quicker crafting research. We talked about this on the live stream, myself and Mike the other day. It's on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. Someone put YouTube in the chat, please. Treasure maps don't have times. Bingo! Exactly, Andrea. Very good point. Valid statement there. Treasure maps do not. Exactly. Make it make sense. We have reduced the time to be able to fully research crafting traits by over 50%. You're moving the goalpost again. I'll continue with that more after I've read the rest of it. But let's say, for argument's sake, 30 days is too long. Okay, it's 15 now. 15 is so long. It's the same problem. It's just a different number. But I'm going to expand on that in a moment after I've read this. This also sees the max caps being lowered as well from 30 days to 10. Jesus fucking Christ. This cap is derived from rank 4 of the crafting tree's passive. Developers note, we approached this thoughtfully, did you? As we didn't want to devalue the time players had previously spent to max out their crafting traits. Well, you already fucked that by introducing scrolls to take away the timers, so that's too late for that. So we still wanted to maintain healthy chase while allowing you significantly more progress, particularly in early gameplay. No. What you've done is and it is a thing that's already been an issue anyway, but they've just enhanced it now. You've made it so Master Crafting is just a checkbox rather than an actual trade. Once upon a time, and again, 10 years later, once upon a time, you would shout in local chat, is anyone a master crafter? I need this cool stuff. It's going to take me months to do it. Is anyone a master crafter? Yes, I'm a master crafter. I charge X, Y, and Z. Now everyone's a master crafter. It's a trade skill that everyone is capable of doing in a very limited amount of time now. So it's lost its weight. Took me forever to get master crafting. It did. I don't care how long it took me, but to limit it to that much time, it takes away its edge. It takes away its exclusivity, I guess, if you were going to put in the time to do it, because now it's just fucking done. Used to be a master crafter. Didn't take an hour, is it a knee? Respec skills and attributes points in the UI for free. I mean, slight hindsight, should have happened years ago. But bags are cheaper, bank is cheaper, no respec costs, and there's other gold issues that they could address. We've got loads more now, so give us other ways to spend it. Took years to get Mastercrafter, indeed. I still say that they shouldn't allow the original motif books being learned on multiple characters count for the 50 motifs for the Grand Mastercrafter. It was super salty about that. Well, the issue is right now is the outfit system versus the motifs don't really make sense, because obviously you can craft stuff on one character and then use the visual on another. So since your whole account can access the visual, what difference does it make which fucking visual you craft it in? So having one character full of motifs and the other one not having that one unlocked still doesn't make any fucking difference. Because, I mean, even if you do make something in Breton, you can still turn it into something completely different without having it. So, I mean, the whole motif system should be across your whole account anyway, since they've already allowed for that. And this system here with the crafting research taken far less time. It does still move the goalpost like closer, but it's still, all you're doing is moving it. You might as well just have none at all, just press research and done. Especially since you've got the scrolls. They're trying to alleviate an issue, but they've already fixed that years ago by charging people for it. It's fucking silly. And again, Master Crafter, what does that even mean anymore? It's 10 years in. Most people have it, and if they're new, they will have it even fucking quicker. Remember those days yelling for Master Crafters in chat? Exactly that. It was one of those things that forced you to interact with other people because they had something that you didn't. And now, if you've got it anyway, you might as well just play by your fucking self. Finally got time to relax. You mix it, what you're making of the patch notes have just arrived. Ups and downs. As, to be fair, we would expect. A lot more ups and downs than usual because there's a lot of dramatic changes in comparison to usual. But we're getting into them. Anyone that's read these already, obviously don't get ahead of me because we're doing this live. Why have you stopped playing? Music, please. Thank you. Ambience is gone. Remember those days? Yeah, me too. Do you remember the vet ranks? I have loads of Rubidite. Can you make me 160 champion point or what was it? Vet rank 16 gear, please. Need Master Crafter. Can you make me Armor Master? I can't get into Imperial City. That kind of stuff. Means you're off to the job center? Pretty much. No, I've got lots to do. I mean, realistically, as a content creator, I'm going to have a fuck ton of stuff to do. But as a player, I'm obviously concerned about the direction of some of this. As anyone should be. It remains to be seen as to how this affects the overall game, but anything like that should be approached with an open mind rather than blindly assuming everything is going to be okay. It might be, but it might not be. Some of this doesn't make sense, and some of it does. What can you do? We have reduced the time to be able to fully research craft and traits by over 50%. We read that one already. Respecs are free. So, to better support being able to play your way, we have made the cost to respec both skill and attribute to be zero gold, and added the functionality for you to be able to do this directly in the respective UI screens. I'm going to echo a problem that I had earlier with the Gold Coast Bazaar, and that is that you are limiting people's movement. The Gold Coast Bazaar is a UI-based system, which means you haven't incorporated a market that someone has to travel to, which lessens the opportunity for them to go to new zones. You're also removing the respec stuff and moving it into UI screens. It's a good upgrade, don't get me wrong, because it shouldn't cost anyway. What's the fucking point? But you are preventing people from going to local areas or towns or capital cities where the shrines belong. So you are less likely to go to Gratwood or wherever the fuck you would go, Deshan or whatever, and visit the shrine of respecability. And while it is a quick quality of life adjustment, so you can do things faster, it does limit your movement and you are less likely to see people running around in those areas doing their everyday normal thing. There is a small cooldown to respec to decrease impact on game performance. And would you like to, in the name of transparency, tell us how long that is? You cannot respec while in a vengeance or in combat. Okay, obviously. That would be shit. I'm glad you addressed that one. Then we get shouters going dead game. Indeed. Imagine that. I mean, they shout dead game because there's no one in Gratwood. It's not dead by any stretch of the imagination, but no one's around. Just want a horse trainer for my house. You know what? That's not actually a bad idea. Introducing a horse trainer guest so that you could, I don't know, go to different guild houses and not have to go anywhere. I mean, that would be a cool upgrade to your house, but guess what the problem is again? No one would be going to horse trainers in the local areas, so no one would use the area either. So while it's a cool idea, it would fuck the other and put us back to square one. Any leftover respec scrolls in your inventory will now be sellable for gold. What about if I bought them for crowns and they're sitting there? Did you just make us buy gold? Don't like how your content VVH run is going. Just respec mid-run. Yeah, you can. Horse trainer is crafting areas like smack dab in the middle of the stations. That's the thing, is less people use the stations in towns because you can have it all in your house. Less people are going to use the shrine. Well, they're not going to use the shrines because it's going to be in a UI screen. No one's going to be going to Gold Coast or Abbas Landing or anything for the Gold Coast market because it's going to be in the UI. Are you going to go anywhere but your house? And let's face it, some people spend 99% of their time on a target dummy rather than actually playing content. This is House Simulator. It seems sellable for gold to a merchant because it's useless to another player. There is that, but what about if you bought it for crowns and we're going to use it later? What about if you had a special time when you had crowns and you just thought, fuck it, I'll spend them now, and then later on I'll go back to it once I've finished my character. It's going to be sold for gold. So enough during the trials when people need to stop to change gear. Now we'll have them stopping to change their attributes and builds. They will. You're not supposed to because they made it so that the armory merchant isn't available in score-based content. But let's face it, PC have already had fucking buttons to press for that for years anyway, so that's already redundant. ESO Sims, it's going to be. I like the encouragement of the housing stuff, but I also think that you're limiting the surrounding areas' population. Stackable treasure maps. About fucking time, fair enough. When you find treasure map, you will now receive an unopened map. Using this item will generate a map in your inventory. Treasure maps are now no longer unique and will stack in units of up to 200 in your inventory. There are some additional gameplay behaviors that have changed to accommodate for this. Treasure maps will now be consumed when opening the chest, rather than upon dig of the dirt mound. Okay. Leaving the general area of the dirt mound or treasure chest will cause it to despawn. Any associated golden pursuits that ask you to dig up treasure chests will now instead ask you to open a treasure chest with a treasure map. Sharper's Knight will now gain rapport when spending a map to open the treasure chest rather than upon digging up a mound of dirt. So, before it would go away once you dug it up, now it only goes away once you open it. So, if you crash after you dig something up, you've still got your map. All my chests are full of maps. It's a good bonus. I'm not mad at this one. This is probably one of the most positive, straightforward, about fucking time ones. Again, I do feel like I'm echoing something that I've said already, and it's about time. I don't want to be that hindsight guy. There's a lot of things here that are positives that should have been there fucking 10 years ago. Whatever, moving on. The game was different then. Upgrade bag in UI. To reduce friction and help better inform you of the existence of bag upgrades, we have added functionality to be able to upgrade your bag directly in the inventory screen. Another reason for you to not visit a town and go to the bag merchant. No reason for him to exist if it's in the UI. Everything is limiting your movement. They're good updates, sure, convenient, but you're limiting the need to go out into the world and press buttons. Rip the Bags guy. See? Poor Bags guy. Bagsy McWoodelf face. He's out of a job. Someone said about Job Center earlier. Great. Wood Elves are going to be queuing up outside. All the little tiny ones. I lost my tree. Did you? Yeah, lost it on Tuesday. Oh, it's funnier in the pub. Killing the RP in an RPG. Yeah, it's not good. I would like to see a guild banker guest. We can't... Do you know what? I was about to say we can do that with the merchant, but I see what you mean there. The actual guild one? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of overdue. It would prevent people from going to the towns again, but I'm surprised they haven't done that when they brought out the banker in the first place. My people are jobless. You can make the bag merchant sell upgrades cheaper than the UI. Yeah, you could. Elder Scrolls in the home. Yep. I wish they would finally allow us to bank transmute crystals. Me too. I said earlier that they need to remove the cap Remove it. There's no point in having an increase on it. You're just moving the goalpost. You're going to reach that problem again when you get there. But it's still missing that I can stack specific max to harvest like 8 deadline, 1 in a row without inventory use. Other merchants being moved though, I will still go out of habit. I'll still go out of habit. But most won't because they're going to be presented with a button that they can just press instead. Understand that humans are lazy and accessibility is the devil. It's not, but you know what people are like. The easier something is, the more accessible something is, like button press wise, the less time it takes, the more likely they are to engage in that version of it rather than go out and actually engage. And I feel like you're killing the towns. You're gonna have to shut Gratwood soon. It's gonna have a wooden board up on top of it saying closed for the winter. Closed for season 0. Vampire Werewolf Cures. We have made a number of improvements to the Vampire and Werewolf quest experiences. Added new discoverable shrines in the world with associated Vampire and Werewolf icons. These new shrines are Auridon, Glumber, and Stonefalls. At these new Vampire and Werewolf shrines, there are NPCs that allow you to begin their respective quests. You can go out and ask... So all the Wood Elves that are out of a job right now, don't worry, you can go and ask a Vampire or a Werewolf. They've got jobs available. Rather than you getting bitten like normal people or actually being bitten by another player and having that interaction with people, they've now got a quest person to start it easily. If you previously fully completed the quest and have since been cured, these NPCs allow you to immediately regain the state and skill lines. You don't have to do the quest again. Fair enough. You can also bite, scratch other players with these new shrines. So same as before. So old system still exists, but you can just get the quest anyway, so you don't need a player to bite you because why have that interaction when you can just press a button and go and get it done yourself? Shouldn't be trying to run a business inside a tree. Yeah, but it was on the 3rd floor and I had a really good view. Ew, people in my MMO? Exactly. You can also... I read that one already. We have also removed the nighttime requirement that limited fiends nearby existing shrines from appearing to aid in natural bites. Why? Removed the nighttime requirement that limited fiends nearby existing. They come out at night. Fuck it. We have reduced the gold cost of cures in-game, particularly the cost of curing an advanced affliction. I mean, you reduced the gold cost on absolutely fucking everything. You removed it from respecs. What difference does it make that you reduce the cost for cures? It's not that much anyway. Like 600 gold. What's that? A couple of weapons? Additional respec scrolls attributes. They said earlier that they will be earning them more frequently until it goes live, so it won't have to pay for it. So it completely is free stuff to help ease the pain while clogging inventory just to be able to sell it when it goes live. Yeah, I mean, but still people have bought them. So what are they going to do about it? Whoops, I don't read that. I totally put that as a reply. What happened? Technically, if you reconstruct something with a max amount, you can have store items in your chest or banks and then deconstruct later so it transmutes back. This is how many of us have done that in current cap. Yes, but that shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be there. Just remove the fucking cap. Vampire in the day. So are they sparkly? They're fucking Blade. They're Daywalkers. We've got Daywalkers in ESO. Let's fucking go. Don't make sense, does it? Doesn't make sense. You're killing the... For the sake of convenience, whatever that fucking means, you are killing the lore of it, quite frankly. Now people won't be yelling at others to bite them in area chat. They just do... They just want people to stay in their houses. It feels like it. We have got stories of vampires that are capable of going out in the day. But, since this is an Elder Scrolls game, how many of you have played Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, and been a vampire and gone out during the day? What happens? It's COVID in ESO. Now, I know fully that they have made it so that you don't necessarily have negative effects in the sun in this game. They've kind of deleted that for its MMO purposes because, obviously, they can't limit where you go to. But the story of it and the interaction with the vampires was nighttime stuff. Sunburn. Bingo. World is spicy. I know what they're doing here, and they're trying to limit your wait time. Okay? But in doing so, you have somewhat butchered the idea of what a vampire is. So, whatever. We have reduced the gold cost of cures. Read that already. Vampire and Werewolf Crown Store changes. We have added quest starters for both Vampire and Werewolf quests for those who have never previously done the quests. We've removed bites and curses from the Crown Store. Good. Should never have been there in the fucking first place. Again, hindsight. We have changed the price of cures in the Crown Store to be 0. So you haven't deleted it. You've just put it in the store for 0 while reducing the gold cost. Surely, if I was a player trying to make a shortcut, I wouldn't use any gold. I would just go to the inventory, the UI of the Crown Store and just get it for 0. Again, UI. I understand UI updates, but you shouldn't remove in-game interaction for the sake of the UI. You shouldn't make everything accessible in buttons and prevent people from going outside. We already don't do that. Look, I lose shades in the winter. Zone guide improvement. Yes, I made fun of my own Casperus mixed raciest. I lose shades in the winter. It's true. Look it up. You can now choose a specific type of location to track inside of the zone guide screen in Activity Finder. The zone guide will then guide you to new locations based on your selection. Quality of life update. We haven't had the zone guide for that long. Fair enough. Previously, the zone guide only allowed you to track items in order, but this gives you more control over how to use the feature. Not mad at that. That's probably one of the most positive things we've had so far. Also like them to upgrade the journal to the unlimited quests. Oh my god, thank you. You're right. Thank you for the sub. Why not still use the priest? Well, because they don't want you to go near their shrines anymore. It's bad, Mind Distortion. Thank you for the sub. You're a legend. 62 months on the bounce. Fucking hell, you're a Dragonborn as well. Let's go. Go to the store, free cure. Maybe you'll pause and shop around. Blind Illusions has got it. Werewolves will visit the vampires during the day and poke fun at them. Come take some vitamin D. Good timing. I made fun about the shades loss. Good segue there, Scarlet. Well done. All of our characters are going to become fat recluses due to not needing to go outside anymore. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Maybe they're going to introduce that, like the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, when they first had that in there, where you basically don't do anything and get fat. Our characters aren't going to be able to do content anymore because they're going to be able to fucking move. They're going to be weebles. They wobble, but they won't fall down. Right, what else have we got? Tooltip for Battle Spirit. The tooltip display does not currently reflect updated text. Oh, this is known issues, isn't it? For Battle Spirit, but will in the future. French voiceover support. For update 47, 48, 49, some voice lines past content 25 are not available in French. I don't speak French anyway. Sit around, you're naked, just like real life. Yeah, it's a COVID simulator. Everyone sits there in pants. Bonjour indeed. Right, I need to get a drink real quick, then we're going to go into combat stuff. Remember, do not get ahead of me. We're doing this in real time. So far, people have been really, really fucking good with that. Thank you very much. And I'll be back in a second. This is a beer, because we fucking need it. Bear in mind, before anyone gets confused about this, I'm not being aggressively negative about it, just open-minded about what is and isn't, and trying to hope that it makes sense. I'm going to turn into humans on Wall-E. Wall-E's the future, you know this. Wall-E's the future. Has anyone ever watched that movie? If you haven't, watch it. It's a kid's movie. No, it's not. It's made by adults. Best excuse ever. Any product that is made for kids. No one can tell you it's for kids, because adults made it, so you're allowed. Good movie, actually. Okay, I'll catch my breath because I bolted up the stairs. Whew. Hi there. How you doing? Welcome in. Fixed an issue where opening UI elements while bracing, actively holding block, could cause the action to become stuck. I mean, that's a positive, isn't it? You can still block while in the menus. Entering a UI element while bracing will now disable bracing and require you to re-input the command to begin bracing again. That should have been there already, whatever. Resurrection becomes significantly less frustrating to use in high-intensity combat. The act of casting a resurrection on an ally...
I love weddings. Drinks all around.
Thank you for the follow. Can now be done while moving. I'm going to continue with that in a minute. I'll finish the rest. Rather than cancelling itself if you moved more than a few frames, casting resurrection will now limit your movement speed to 10% for a current speed to retain the sense of risk and skill when resurrecting. Casting resurrection now temporarily allows you to phase through NPC enemies while casting the effect to ensure you cannot be pushed away by monsters from those dire need to resurrect. So, 1, you get nudged, like by fucking enemies all the time while you're trying to res. It's fucking annoying. This is a good change. Well done. And I have actively kicked people out of trials before by holding resurrection and accidentally moving because I brought up a menu instead and kicked them. That's actually pretty good. So that's a good start. Okay? That's positive, by the way. Gonna press a button. Yes. Next. Okay. A lot of these were posted on the Elder Scrolls Online website recently, but we're gonna go over them anyway. Dragonknight. And yes, I have conflicts with these. Some of them are really good. Some of them we haven't tested yet, obviously, but some of them don't make sense. They just need to make a res box larger. You're not wrong, dude. Or just have an active button that you just press and it locks on and does it for you rather than you having to hold the bastard. Because how many times have you slipped because you've been playing the game too long and you got sweaty thumbs? You get them. And you slipped and you let go of res. Activate res. Yes. Let go. And finish it. Let's see. Overall changes. Dragonknight has seen many changes to abilities and passives to better diversify the distribution of role-based tools in each skill line, while simultaneously creating more incentives to help pure classing. Remain effective compared to subclassing. This won't be our only effort in aiding this experience. These adjustments are meant to lean into the existing core identity, I love that word, you picked that up off the fucking internet, of the Dragonknight while simultaneously trying to improve underrepresented roles such as support. I'm going to slightly lead into this one. If you don't know that the Flame Breath comes from a Dragonknight, that the Whip comes from a Dragonknight, that Cinderstorm comes from a Dragonknight, Banner and Take Flight come from a Dragonknight, and you can't tell its identity by using those skills, you got problems. Just because you mask your identity underneath other classes doesn't mean the identity is gone, it just means that you are pretending it isn't there. Anyway, they wanted to refresh this, so they're obviously going to use buzzwords. Underrepresented roles such as support. I mean, how many people use DK tanks? How many people use DK DPSs? How many people use DK heal? Loads of people do. You're not necessarily fixing a problem that is there. There isn't one. People use what they want to use. They will use what their friends tell them is best, not necessarily what is possible. You are still moving the goalpost, and that problem will still persist because people talk. Tank on every class. Yep, me too. Tank on every class, heal on every class, DPS on every class. Any way you like. Play your way. Any class, any race, any role. You sold the game as that in the beginning. It's always been that way. Just that some people limit their choices by listening to other people that tell them they can't. You're not fixing that problem. You have to explain more to people how your game is rather than how they pretend it is. Anyway, this has resulted in reshuffling of where abilities are sourced within each kit. Not mad about reshuffling stuff. I mean, it needs to be done, so whatever. And some functionality changes to existing abilities to ensure we cover each role more evenly. One thing you do have to consider is that the earlier classes, the 4 base game ones, so DK, Sorcerer, Nightblade, and Templar, don't actually have a set-in-stone structure as to how their skills are set up. Now, the other ones do lean a little bit, but the Warden, the Necromancer, and the Arcanist do have a relatively consistent listing where you can actively look at their skill lines and go, that's DPS, that's tank, that's healer. The base game classes have been shuffled over time, but they don't still exactly do that. So I think that's what they're trying to do. Like DK DPS for life, brother. I've got 3 of them on the channel, actually. Put Popcorn, Burn, or Hot Sauce in the chat. You've got 3 different builds there. They are up to date for now. I've actually updated the DK section on the website. They are valid now. Obviously, when this comes in, I might have to change stuff, but that's not for a long while yet. Now, Ardent Flame. Here we go. Dragonknight Standard. This ultimate and Standard of Might Morph no longer deal damage to enemies inside or apply Major Defile. Instead, these ultimates grant you and up to 11 allies standing in the area increased weapon and spell damage, 375, and reduced damage taken, 12%. Note the effect does not stack, so you only need 1 banner at a time. Multiple stacks is fucking useless, unless you stagger them, of course, like a Warhorn. Standard of Might. This morph increases the bonuses for the caster of the ultimate. Increases to 425 instead of 375. Weapon and spell damage, and 13% damage reduction, so 1% on top of that. Damage reduction is multiplicative anyway. If you're sitting there with loads and loads of different damage modifications for mitigation, then 1% on top of that is actually not going to be noticed at fucking all. So that's a tricky one. There's a video about that on my channel as well, about how damage mitigation is calculated. When you start hitting high diminished returns, this is going to be nothing. It's not going to make any difference there at all. Whatever. Maybe if you're solo. Rather than granting a unique 12 to 15% damage range. That used to be 15% damage done at the same time as damage reduction, just for you. And now it's a group supporting bonus. I mean, it's a rallying banner, so sure. But this extra one here, 1% extra, that's silly. There's no point. I understand that for the user, you want to have an increased bonus to weapon and spell damage so that you can, by yourself, have an extra one. But this 1% is pants. Let's read this. Shift in standard, the morph continues to work as originally designed, dealing damage and applying major defile rather than the new functionality. So the shifting one still does what it used to do, and the new one has got a different application to it. It basically gives other people bonuses, not just you. Morph continues to work as originally designed, dealing damage and applying major defile. Okay, fine. So this bonus overall is what you're going to get, but major defile and fire damage and area of effect for the shifting one is still going to be present. So for yourself, if you just want mega bonuses, this one, and if you want to be group support in that manner, then you take the other one. Dragonknight standard is being refocused for a more supportive morph than an outright damage one. See, I'm not completely mad at that because it does make sense to have two very different morphs, because at the moment it's just one's more damage than the other one you can move around a lot. And if you move it around a lot, that gives you options to more synergies as well. So there's not really too much difference apart from that. So completely separating them, sure. But I don't think the mitigation bonus is really thought out that well. 1% on top of all the other bonuses is nothing. In fact, it might be nothing. But anyway, in efforts to try and mitigate the complete loss of the previous iteration, we're keeping shift and standard as it is to help in cases where high mobility encounters need some additional pressure or added pressure, such as in niche areas in PvP. Okay, fair. See how that works. Even Dine Ninjas, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I need to find a good DK PvP builds before PvP event starts. Put Fury or... Actually, don't bother. Put builds in the chat. Go to Dragonknight. There's two there. There's one called Fury and one called Battlegrounds Jester. Have a look at those. They've been updated as well. Lava Whip. This ability now becomes Volcanic Whip for 7.9 seconds. Odd timing. I like whole seconds, but whatever. After it damages an off-balance enemy, which allows for multiple activations during that window. Okay, the 0.9 second is obviously they're pushing towards the global cooldown has already kicked in. Off-balance is 7 seconds. They allow you to kick in just before the first second to get you the full 7 seconds uptime on off-balance. Fair enough. Anticipating that you'd already be 100 milliseconds into that. The time window activation can only occur once every 20 seconds, which is allowing for 1 second global cooldown between them because there's 21 seconds gap on the off-balance from the initial cause because it's supposed to be 7 and 15. Actually, it's 22. Volcanic Whip costs half as much, deals 33.3% more damage, and deals its damage in a 5-meter radius around the original target. This change was made to help introduce the Flame Lash Morph gameplay element sooner, while also making the window of interaction for off-balance less restrictive. So, Ben Cross, thank you very much. You're an absolute legend. Bit and Cake in the chat. Thank you for the resub. Or not even resub. Gifted subs. Did you kill a Dragonborn? Not quite. Ben, 35 you're up to. Thank you very much indeed. If you received one, refresh your stream. So, I mean, they've gone 20 seconds. It is actually 22, but they've gone 7 seconds with 0.9 on the end. So they've allowed for a leak into global cooldown, but then they've taken one away here. So that should be 21. Or 20.9. The time window activation can only occur once every 20 seconds, which does actually cause a problem. Is that per target to line up with the actual uptime and downtime of off balance, or is that permanent? Because if that's tied to the skill specifically and not per target, that is actually less effective. Regardless, it's AoE now. Let me read all this kind of stuff. Also making a window of interaction for off-balance less restrictive. We'll look at that on PTS itself. I'm not looking for an answer there. I'll look at it myself in a bit, but wording is important, I guess. As you now get a guaranteed window of time after hitting the off-balance target. Okay, so that might be per target. Rather than being forced to drop everything you're doing while off-balance is active. I mean, you're still going to have the same problem. You're just moving the goalpost on that one, but at least it's a longer time. These abilities no longer set immobilized or stunned enemies off balance. With sourced off balance on a new passive you'll read about later on in a different skill line. Read that, but we'll get to it. If you want to recognize the amount of data that lives in your brain, you've probably gotten more stats in this game than most people will ever learn. I have a few, but I did make a fuck up there when I said 21. It's actually 22, but then I fixed it, so it's fine. Thank you, Amber. Flame Lash. This morph now heals you anytime the ability deals damage. Banging. Very nice. Rather than only when the Power Lash version is active. For those that don't know, when the target is off balance, Power Lash twists, and every whip will heal you, and then when off balance disappears, it goes. If you're using the burn build or the hot sauce build, you would have already known that. But if you're smart about it in combat, if you've got multiple targets and they all go off balance, you can jump from one to the other to the other to the other and always have heals. But in a boss fight, you'll only have a limited time to take advantage of that. In fact, like 33% of the time, give or take. It now builds when... Where the fuck did I get to? This morph sees the changes to activating... I can't say words. Activating Power Lash as the base ability does. Molten Whip. This morph now continues to rework the ability into a more self-contained building effect, focused on high single target burst damage. It now builds when activating any Dragonknight ability, aside from itself, rather than Ardent Flame only. Oh, they already said that. Rather than Ardent Flame only abilities, to make the build-up more organic and rhythmic to use. So that doesn't quite limit you to Ardent Flame only, but it does push for more class ability usage. Adjusted the stack and bonus to 33% per stack, up from 20, but reduce the duration to 10 seconds, down from 15 seconds to account for the new ability timers within the kit. Added ability timer support for the weapon and spell damage portion of Siphon Fury. So what they've done there is, before you had to try and find one skill that you spam, if you like, or multiple different skills to line up a timer for 15 seconds. So the Breath and the Venom Claw, or the Burn and Embers, whichever, were all 24 seconds a pop. So if you were trying to use one, and then another, and then Flames of Oblivion, which is also 15 seconds, you had these staggered effects where somewhere they would have to overlap in order to allow for you to keep the consistent 15-second timer for Siphon Fury to be running. Now they want to encourage you to use DK abilities more often, so they've allowed you to have the whole arsenal, but you need to make sure you press them sooner than you normally would. That's going to lead into some other stuff because the dots have been changed. We're going backwards on some stuff. Anyway, Searing Strike. This ability, this will allow, by the way, for different ways to build outside of Ardent Flame only, but it does mean you need to use DK skills more often. Searing Strike. This ability in its morphs now lasts 10 seconds, down from 20 seconds. They have just reverted update 35. Before we go any further into this, that feels like they're just going backwards on stuff. Like, well, we're better than you now, so we're changing the stuff that you broke. This has been fine for a long time. Whatever, we'll keep looking. But deal 50% more damage. I'm going to finish this section before I lead into this bit, but that's what's happening. You deal 50% more damage per second to make up for the shorter duration. So the skill effectively does the same over this... Oh, it doesn't do the same. It does more than it normally would over the 10-second period if you reapplied it. But technically speaking, while they're allowing for the short duration, overall, that's a boost. Because if you reapply it when it's ready and reapply it when it's ready, you have got a 50% overall. It's not just for that timer. It is a consistent increase. This decrease in duration but increase in damage should help make Dragonknight's damage over time effects stand out as more potent, but also more demanding to maintain, while helping reinforce a more rhythmic cadence to their damage rotations. You say that like it's more demanding to maintain, but for at least 6 years, it already was this. So that's not difficult to adapt to. Especially not since lots of skills are now shorter anyway. Not all of them, but some of the ground-based ones are. Damage over time for the DK is already stronger than most. Venomous Claw, for example, ramps up. You aren't going to find a higher single target damage over time ability at the moment than that, if you let it go to its maximum, and if you boost for damage over time and single target. So, you're not really fixing anything there, but you are changing the pace. You are, of course, enhancing damage flat. So you've default buffed it. Okay, Venomous Claw. This morph has now been reworked to Searing Claw, which deals flame damage instead of poison. Goodbye poison damage. I'll talk about that more later as well. We spoke about this on the Mike Macon podcast we had the other night. It remains Stamina Morph that increases damage per tick, which still ramps up with the 50%, which has been increased to match the same power increase with a shorter duration. So this Venomous Claw is still stronger than the other morph, but again, they've boosted it at base. Burn and Embers, this is interesting. The heal from this morph now scales off of maximum health rather than damage done, to offer a more helpful tool for tanks to gain some staying power in combat. The initial heal remains stronger than the overtime portion, and can now critically strike, but no longer bypasses Battle Spirit. You say it doesn't bypass Battle Spirit. You say it is boosted off of max health, so tanks will be happy about that. But you've already boosted its damage by 50%, which means its heal will already be higher and it can critically strike. So while you have made it not surpass Battle Spirit like it used to before, you've already boosted the base and added the crit, so it won't be that much different. And really tanky DKs that will whip, fossilize, regardless of the way they changed, is now going to have a much stronger heal, potentially, than they already have, which makes more aids. Rip, no more poison, sad panda. I mean, in PvE elements or areas, that's going to be really, really fucking helpful for tanks. Not that it isn't in the first place. But PvP, I don't think you're necessarily fixing a problem here. You've removed this issue, and you've added this one. We'll try it and find out. Fiery Breath has been changed to Core of Flame. Originally in Hail. Oh no, wait a minute. Fiery Breath or Core of Flame is originally in Hail. Excuse me?
Hello there.
Hello there! I mean, it does promote high health. It does, which is what they're supposed to do, because they do have lots and lots of health-based skills in the DK toolkit already, and this kind of further emphasizes that. But they've, Fiery Breath, Core of Flame, originally Inhale. No, it's not. Fiery Breath and Inhale are different skills. Anyway, we'll read it. This ability and its morphs no longer deal damage instantly or heal for damage caused. These abilities now restore 15% of your missing magicka and stamina 3 times over 4 seconds. So, not the first second, but the further 3. They continue to deal their original damage around you after the duration ends. This is like Deep Breath, basically. So, I don't know why they put Fiery Breath and squashed it out here. Unless they're moving its position. Which is possible. I think that's what they're doing. Soul of Flame, originally Deep Breath. This morph continues to add an interrupt on the initial activation, but it now interrupts after 350 milliseconds. Delay instead of instantly for better visual syncing and counterplay. Come back to that. This morph also continues to increase the damage of the delayed explosion, which has increased to 33% bonus, up from 25%. So, slight increase overall. Name change for God knows why, considering the skill does the same thing. And 350 milliseconds, less than half a second, almost a third of a second, counterplay. You're going to need to be fucking quick. You add a 1 second counterplay and delay to most skills or sets, especially when you look at things like Rush of Agony, even though they moved it to a static point and everything now. 350 milliseconds. That's not much room. I mean, even Dawnbreaker's got 0.8 seconds. You might need to alter that. If you expect people to have counterplay instances against that, you might want to increase the timer a little bit. PvE situations is not going to be that bad. PvP situations, if you're lagging even slightly, you ain't getting out of that. Heart of Flame, originally Draw Essence. So they changed the name again for this. This morph now heals you for 15% of the miss and health each tick, which is a very big heal if you're tanky. And no longer adds magicka when damaging enemies, as that function of resource recovery is now part of the base ability. So you'll always get resources back no matter what. One will interrupt with a delay, and the other one will give you some rather large heals for the duration of it. So a bit of a buff in some areas, especially in AoE situations, I would imagine. Morph now heals you for 15% of the miss and health each tick. So that hopefully is per target rather than just overall. But then if they calculate the damage and the heal overall, maybe that'll still be huge anyway in just one calculation instead of multiple. Who knows? It looks like a bit of a buff. In order to add more meaningful solutions to the high sustained demand of some of the DK kit, we're tuning the ability into a resource regeneration tool as its core, while retaining some of the original functionality of overheated combustion. Activating this ability when you're on the brink of exhaustion should help keep you in action while still retaining the need to engage with other tools like combustion and the Storm Voice, which is the old battle roar. Storm. Dragonknight. They've used 2 words here. Storm Voice and Avalanche. Moving on. Fiery Grip has moved to a different spot. Her Fire, which was originally Ash Cloud. This ability and the original Cinderstorm morph now grant major fortitude and heroism to allies inside the area. That is fucking huge. Oh, sorry. Minor, not major. Still, very fucking helpful. That is removing the need for heroic slash for anybody, because you can just put that on them. Sorcerer class identity, right? It's exactly what it says. Rather than slowing enemies, movement speed by 70%, increase the radius up to 8 meters from 5 on all versions of this ability. So no snare, but it does give fortitude and heroism. Why they chose just fortitude? It's unusual. Firekeeper. Sounds like a DK. Originally Cinderstorm. This morph continues to increase the healing effectiveness by 50%, but only does so if the caster is inside the area of effect. You need to be inside your own heals, forcing the healer to be front and center. To make up for this, however, it also causes minor fortitude and heroism to stick to allies for 15 seconds after being healed. So anyone standing inside the circle will get this buff, and if they fuck off, they'll still keep it. But you do have to stand inside your own heal. They have made it so that you have to be front and center. Heaven Home, originally Eruption. This morph no longer reworks the ability into a damaging effect and instead remains a healing effect. But it now scales off of max health. Healing off of max health. This morph continues to reduce enemy movement speed inside the area by 70%. This morph now also grants the caster major protection while inside of the area to help the ability be more valuable to tanks. If you have a very high health tank and you're taking advantage of this skill here, which is Burning Embers, and the new Deep Breath, which they've changed, and this, standing in your own space, which you're probably doing all the time as a tank anyway, is going to make you ridiculously powerful when it comes to mitigation and self-heals. You don't need to be babysat with this. If you've got enough health, you don't need to be babysat. You're going to be getting huge ticks of heals. If you're low health, you're going to benefit from this far less. Okay, Inferno. This ability and the original Flames of Oblivion morph now fire a massive wave of flame in an 8-meter radius rather than individual fireballs. Which were 3, by the way, in a 15-meter radius. This removes the original target cap of the abilities. Also limits the range by almost half. So you got to be fucking close. Increase the cost to 4050 per activation, up from 2160 to account for the new area melting potential. Reduce the chance of applying the burning status effect by 5%, down from 10 to account for these changes. Okay. Incinerate, officially Flames of Oblivion. This morph now deals 10% more damage and has a 15% base chance of applying burning. Now the morph can no longer increase the target count. That'll be at 6. Just same as everything else. So it's an AoE burst rather than fireballs. Okay, whatever. We'll look at it and see how bad that is. It doesn't seem bad, but it does seem very costly. Whereas this one was quite cheap over time. Combustion. This passive now grants you 1/2/1 up to 2/2/5 Magicka and Stamina when applying a burning status with an Ardent Flame ability slotted with a 1-second cooldown rather than 4/2/3 when applying burning or poisoned with a 3-second cooldown. So technically, that is going to be higher, but you have to have an Ardent Flame ability slotted in order to get this. Not actually any burning. So before it was any burning, now it's you have to have one of these slotted. Passive no longer increases the damage done with burning or poisoned. The burning portion has moved to a different passive. Thaumatic burns, only warmth. Sorry, originally warmth. This passive now causes enemies you've damaged with an Ardent Flame ability to take 5% increased flame damage while reducing their movement speed for 5 seconds rather than increasing your damage over time effects against them by 6% and reducing the movement speed. Read that again. Causes enemies you've damaged with direct Ardent Flame to take 5% increased flame damage. Is that from everybody? Or just you? Fan the Flames, originally Siren Heat. We're getting there. This passive now increases your chance of burning by 50% and the damage it does by 25%. These values increase by 10% chance and 5% damage per Dragonknight ability slotted. This passive no longer extends the duration or damage of Ardent Flame abilities. So the more you have slotted, the more burning and the stronger it is. Okay. Solar Blaze, originally Burning Heart. This passive now increases healing taken at all times by 4% at rank 1, 8% at rank 2, rather than 4 and 9 meet in certain conditions. So they just consolidated this, so that's standardized basically. 4 and 8, so 8 is double, instead of 9, which is fucking weird. Draconic Power. This is a lot of stuff, people. I'm only halfway fucking through. Jesus. Dragonknight rebuilt how this ability handles the movement aspect under the hood to more modern, fixing numerous inconsistencies compared to other movement abilities and unique bug cases. Fix numerous issues with knockback being desynced from the actual damage impact, which should also make it easier to counteract the CC effects as an opponent. This ability and the Take Flight morph now deal flame damage rather than physical. Bye-bye physical, bye-bye poison. Reduce the damage of the base ability by 16%. To account for the damage change, as there are numerous ways to amplify this effect back to similar or higher values, i.e. if you don't stack loads of burning abilities or ardent flame abilities, then of course it is what it is, but if you do, then your statuses are going to close the gap, and so is the fire damage. Is there really any class identity anymore though? Yes, there is. The more I've been learning about this game, the more I see how it's like only a handful of builds in a game that consists of 3 different class lines. No, the class identity is there. People hide it. If you take off all your DK abilities but only use the DK passives, you've hidden your class identity by not using the skills and using something else over top of it. That's all it is. The identity is there. It's just people are choosing to hide it. What do you think? I did something like subclassing, but also one for races. Not necessary. That's too minor to be something that they really need to work into. Take Flight. This morph now fills you with Draconic Fury for 15 seconds after activation, which increases your damage done by 10%. So it's like Major Berserk, but stacks. And doubles against monsters. Holy shit. This morph no longer extends the range or reduces the cost. Decreases the base damage by 19% to account for other potential damage increases. Then Ferocious Leap, the other morph, now instantly applies a damage shield for 10 seconds instead of applying it after a delay. Increase the potency by 4%. The morph now knocks enemies up rather than away. So like Volcanic, whatever the fuck it's called from Mage's Guild. To make it more tank friendly so they can control the fight rather than disrupt it. So they go up in the air and land again rather than scattering so you don't lose your control. Interesting, but that one's actually quite helpful. This one is encouraging you to take advantage of this skill pretty much indefinitely because the huge bonus to damage here, especially if you can build ulti really, really quickly, would potentially outplay the banner. So banner for groups, this for you. By the looks of it. Depending on feedback, we may take this change into crowd control or universal one. There's value in many cases to have an ultimate be less disruptive. The only reason we haven't so far is because it takes away some of the badass feeling of crashing down like a dragon and pushing foes back in all directions. I do think pushing back makes more sense visually, but flying up makes control easier. So you need to decide, which is what they're writing here, whether you want to make sense mechanically or theme-wise. It's a tricky one. Returned to ESO after years of not playing, did VOC today and found it quite fun. Do you like it? Yes. Phoenix, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Completely off the subject I'm talking about, but yes. Spiked armor, dragon, fire, breath. So they've moved fiery breath in place of where spiked armor was. Decrease the duration to 10 seconds. So much like Venomous Claw, 10 seconds instead of 20. So reversing update 35. And increase the damage per second by 50%. Same bonus to the other skill. You've increased damage. This ability is now a stamina ability at its base. Noxus Breath is being changed. That's a really disintegrating dragon fire. This morph now deals flame damage instead of poison and remains stamina ability and continues to add major breach while applying the respective status effect. Now, burning to all enemies affected by the initial hit. So, Burning Embers used to do that, and now the actual breath does as well.
I love weddings. Drinks all
This
around.
you haven't done onto PTS yet. Obviously not, because that's happened after this, but I won't be able to do that on today's stream because I'm already way over time. So they've removed poison completely. Even though it's a stamina morph, they've removed poison completely. They just made it all fire. And I spoke about this yesterday or the day before. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Where I can see them trying to deliberately tie a specific element to every single class, which would not limit choices, but force you to think very much inside a box and strap anything fire onto fire, strap anything poison onto poison, and then ignore all the rest of the stuff. So eventually they kind of thin the possibilities by just getting rid of them. Maybe putting them into like a legendary sticker book, much like they did with Destiny with some of their fucking weapons. Not saying that is happening, but it feels like it is. If DK is all fire and nothing else, you're then looking at other classes that obviously have their own respective kind of themes. So, for argument's sake, I said this on stream recently, DK, fire, Templar, magic, Sorcerer, lightning, Warden, ice, Nightblade, potentially bleed, Necromancer, disease, and Arcanist, physical. That would leave the 8th class, after the 7 classes have been updated in 2 years' time, to be poison. Quote that later if it works. Engulfing Dragonfly, originally Engulfing Flames. This morph is now the rework morph, which costs Magicka instead of stamina, obviously. This morph now channels the flame attack in front of you for 4.8 seconds and deals 20% increased damage when it hits an enemy, up to once every second, and up to a maximum of 80%. While Take Flight is active, this deals maximum damage. The damage is considered direct damage. Here's a problem. They are forcing your hand as to which ones work in which order with which combos, leading away from you making up your own rotations and kind of forcing you into the, if you don't do it, you don't benefit, and if you do, you do. And the standardization of that limits choice. Not that it's not there, but people won't take it. So they will obviously do this. Also, while we've wanted a channeled flame breath for a very long time, I think it's too late to introduce this because now it just feels like a fire Arcanist Beam. Cruxes, use certain things for a combo. Corpses, use certain things for a combo. Take Flight, use this afterwards. They are leading you down a path that kind of tells you you must do this rather than you can. And again, I do think that we're going down a very linear path when the game design is concerned, especially with the potential for keyed combat content, which was slightly hinted at earlier. It's got pluses and minuses, but we'll have to wait and see how this works out. This being a default, which it probably will, would just be channel, channel, and then whip and Flames of Oblivion whenever you need to alongside Deep Breath. And again, there's nothing wrong with people figuring out what works, but they also gave you the whole, this should work for you and it might not work for others. They're punishing you for not taking advantage of a system that they're setting in stone. We'll read it anyway. For being called a Dragonknight, the class has always been missing the most iconic feel of being a dragon. What? Jumping into the air with massive wings and breathing fire? Disagree. Unleashing unbaited flame upon their foes while channeled flame breath. I mean, if you write a novel, that's cool, but we already did have the tools. We also realized that many of you have expressed a desire to be able to enjoy the game at a slower pace. Okay, so you introduce another channel to another class. And as we've introduced similar... This is the thing, right? We don't want Arcanist being on everything. Okay, have a flame then. And it's direct damage, again, which also is a problem. Because at the moment, not that there's only one way to build, there's billions of ways to build, but it's painfully obvious when people look at what is in front of them, that putting Tideborn and Deadly, which is channel, and this is a channel, so is an Arcanist Beam, so is a Jesus Beam. This is direct, so is an Arcanist Beam, so is a Jesus Beam, because they changed it. Then you've got the Veluffy fucking Mages thing that increases all damage. Then you've got the Lightning Staff, which increases direct damage. And you've got all these different stacking bonuses. We don't need to go into all the rest of them. We know they exist. They're almost forcing people to think one way. This is supposed to be class identity. That would feel like an Arcanist Beam, except on fire, which is a class, a skill style, not something that identifies necessarily any different. It feels like they're pushing you into direct damage kind of setting, and only certain sets will work with this or be required for this. And again, it feels like they're thinning the choices. Not to say they won't change some of that along the line, they probably will, but it's a risky one. To be fair, Engulfing Dragonfire is really nice to use. That's not my point. My point is they say one thing and do another. They want to offer identity, and all they've given us is a different visual for something we already have. And they want to give us choices, but they're giving you a path rather than letting you choose. The game design is changing. Not just some of the visuals and some of the updates. They're play any way you fucking like, and millions of possibilities is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And I do think by 2 years from now, once everything is done as far as the classes are concerned, we're going to be looking at WoW Light. That might be a good thing, but that's where they're going. Anyway, let's see this. Slower pace, and we've introduced similar attacks into higher levels of play and heavy attack builds and Fate Carver. We want to make sure there are more flavors to this experience, each with their own distinctions in how you build and play. Well, instead of Cruxes and a Beam, it's Dragon Leap and a Beam. This morph won't bring the same heat as either of those builds alone, but it should help take some pressure off of constantly needing to press down the gas pedal on buttons. You're going to get two sides of a coin there. You're going to get some people thinking, okay, this is great, I have to press less buttons. And other people saying, well, I want to. We'll see how it works out. Phoenix, as far as their PTS is concerned, we're not going to talk about what actually is present, what people have tested and all the rest of it, because I do my own testing. We'll get to that later. This is just going through the patch notes. Dark Talons fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs claws failed to appear if you were immune to the immobilization. Okay, visual change. Increase the duration of minor maim to 20 seconds. You reduce the dots, but you increase the debuffs. So on a boss, you only need to press that once every 20 seconds. Okay. Dragon Blood, this ability in Green Dragon Blood morph now heal based on your maximum health and increase based on your missing health. So the higher your health, the stronger the potential of the heal, and the more you have missing, the higher that stacks on top, rather than scaling exclusively off of your missing health alone. So the chunk percentage plus the strength of that resource bar, because health is a resource when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to scaling. This should make them more reliable and comparable to other self-heals, but with the nuance that they're weaker at higher health, but stronger at lower health. Yep, so be really, really risky, go as low as you can, and then bang, big heal. Always has been that way, but they're kind of emphasizing that a bit more. Now excited for a while, WoW Light, honestly, I got so much crap from people saying play my way or else. In the past, I hate anything forcing me to conform and not let me do what I want. Well, it's not done yet, it's not set in stone, but it does seem like they're leading down that path. It seems like they're taking a lot from other MMOs, rather than continuing with their original path. The reason ESO works so well, obviously things will always change, obviously things will always be broken, obviously things will always need to be updated or whatever, but the reason it works so well is because it separates from the mold of the generic linear MMO, and it feels like the new influence is pushing the linear agenda. We will see, we don't know that for sure, but that's what it looks like. Green Dragon Blood, originally named, no, wrong way around. Blood of the Green Dragon, originally named Green Dragon Blood. Slight change of names. Blood of the Elder Dragon, originally Coagulating Blood. This morph continues to change the heal scaling to offensive stats. They've still got one that bases off of magicka or stamina or weapon spell damage. It now also heals allies with a 10-meter radius of you for 2/3 of the original scaling. It also grants minor courage and major fortitude to any healed target instead of just major fortitude to you. Support builds may like this one. So major fortitude is hit and miss. I mean, you can get that from a potion anyway. Minor courage is going to prevent you from using a lot of sets in the game, or a few sets in the game, because you won't need it because you've got the skill. So already, again, pigeonholing certain creativity opportunities by not needing what's already there. And the 10-meter area of effect to heal other people. That's incredibly similar to the prayer on the Templar. Cool for the DK, yes, but it's very, very similar to something that we already have available. Obviously, without changing the skill line to a Templar. Wing Buffet. I do not understand the fucking wording there. Protective Scale. This ability and the original Protective Plate morph now knock enemies within 6 meters of you back. I mean, visually that makes sense. So you flap people. Dragonknight Phoenix, you need to stop talking about what you've seen, because that's not what we're doing. Don't get ahead of the streamer. Quite funny, indeed. I have made it clear in the pinned comment. We're going about the patch notes, nothing else. All the rest of it, fucking report it to Zos. The idea of that flinging people back with a wing flap, not necessarily a bad idea. But that's going to fuck things up when it comes to crowd control. You're going to have to use that literally in just PvP to get things away from you. These abilities continue to reduce your damage taken from ranged and projectile attacks by 50%. Fair enough, that hasn't really changed. This ability now grants Major Expedition, move from the original Fiery Grip for 4 seconds after activating it. So you fling people back, you protect yourself from projectiles with the flappy wings, and you're faster. Fair enough. Fleeting Wings, originally Protective Plate, just a name change. Great. Protect the Blood, originally Dragonfire Scale. This morph has been reworked to be a support morph. It no longer deals flame damage back at the attackers. That's going to piss some people off. While active, and sacrifices the new area knockback on activation. This morph grants group members within 12 meters 25% damage reduce damage taken from projectiles for 6 seconds and adds minor protection for 20 seconds to you and group members affected. It continues to grant major expedition as well. Note that this effect cannot stack with itself or other versions of... Wow. That is 25% reduced damage taken from projectiles. You stack that with Becklin Steel and some other defensive bonuses as well. Increases resistances, etc, etc. That's going to be fucking mental. Especially in Cyrodiil when you're on keep battles and there's loads and loads of projectile shit going on. That's a substantial increase to the effectiveness of that skill. Rakat's not going to hit you for shit. Or anybody else. For either one of them. Chains of Flame. Fiery Grip. This ability and its morphs damage now always applies burning for more interaction with other parts of the Dragonknight kit. There's a lot of burning going on now. Almost everything fucking fires it. Added a new special sound effect to the act of successfully pulling enemies, helping dial up the satisfaction of controlling your foes. This ability and the original Unrelenting Grip morph now apply Major Cowardice for 10 seconds. So massive reduction to damage there. Is it damage or the other one? That's... My brain stopped then and I wasn't sure it was fucking ulti. It's not. Timidity is ulti. For 10 seconds the enemy rather than granting you Major Expedition. So you don't go fast, but you do limit their ability to hit you really, really hard. Chains of Domination increases duration of Major Cowardice to 15 seconds to match taunt timers. Fair enough. That makes sense with consistency. I guess with timers. Continues to refund the ability if the target is not pulled. Banging. Chains of Devastation. This is the one that pulls you to them, by the way. This morph now grants Major Evasion for 10 seconds. That's making you buff to fuck, man. After activating to help you shrug off some of the damage you may receive when diving headfirst into combat. Well, only with AoE. Increase the damage of Major Berserk. Duration of Major Berserk to 6 seconds up from 4. Still a really weird fucking timer. If you're going to give us this for 10 seconds, give us this for 10 seconds. I know that's a lot, but you were consistent with this, and now you're not consistent with this. 4 seconds was fucking useless. That's true. To help it be ever so slightly more worthwhile to use in rotation, note that this, with the burning application, helps it do notably more damage, so beware the Dragonknight who pulls himself to you. I mean, that was a dramatic statement, fair enough, but you've got 6 seconds attached to a skill that's got a 10-second thing attached to it, whereas here you wanted to make the two 15s make sense. Either make this 6 or make this 10. And if you do make it 10, you're going to have to increase the cost for the sake of balance. Bonus scales, originally Iron Skin. Name change and nothing else. This passive now increases your damage done with area and overtime attacks by 7% rather than increasing your flame and poison damage by 5. So that's all damage, not just fire and poison. That's a buff overall. Elder Dragon, this passive now increases your health recovery up to 700 rather than 323 per Draconic Power ability slotted. This passive now grants you and nearby members minor brutality for 20 seconds when you activate a Draconic Power ability, which used to be Mountain's Blessing, which was an Earth and Heart ability. So if you activate a heal, everyone gets minor brutality, so Dragon Blood. So you don't have to bring Ignis Shields with it. The Storm Voice doesn't sound like Dragon at all, but whatever. That was Battle Roar. Dragons roar. They don't all have a Storm Voice, though. Storm sounds like Sorcerer. This passive now grants you 16 health, magicka, and stamina per ultimate, plus 6 to these values per Dragonknight, rather than 37 health, magicka, and stamina per ultimate spent. Per Dragonknight what? This should make the passive relatively effective for any who obtain it, while being even more effective for those that go into the Dragonknight experience. Do they mean Dragonknight skill? Let me read that again. This passive now grants you 16 health, magicka, and stamina, which is a reduction, plus 6 for each one of those per Dragonknight. I think they mean per Dragonknight skill, because if it was per Dragonknight, you're forcing Dragonknight only groups, and that's not what they're really trying to do. I think they missed a word there. It says there, while being even more effective for those who go all into Dragonknight experience. So they're encouraging you to slot more skills. 6 per skill would eventually make sense and get quite close to what it used to be. In fact, higher. Earth and Heart. Magma Armor. Increase the base duration to 12 to 15 seconds of this ultimate and the Magma Shell morph up from 10. but remove the flame damage on both versions. This means these effects will no longer scale with Elfbane. Sad panda. Magma Shell. Increase the radius of the shield granted to 28 meters up from 8. That is fucking huge, to be honest. Because trying to get your group to stack up when you're about to fire that skill is a nightmare. So that's a plus. More allies actually get shielded. Increase the shield size to 130 to 133% of the target's maximum health, up from 100. Big group shield. Very similar to that of the Arcanist, but the Arcanist is limited because it's 60% of all damage, not 100% of it until the shield's gone. Similar. Corrosive Armor. This morph now deals flame damage instead of poison damage. Goodbye poison. It's gone completely from the DK. This means the effect can now scale with Elfbane. Base duration remains 10 seconds. Increase the damage per tick by 300%. This morph continues to cause you to ignore enemy armor while active, but now affects all damage and attacks instead of just direct damage. To account for these massive power buffs, the damage limit has been adjusted to 8% of your maximum health rather than 3%, causing you to take significantly more damage while under ultimate. So, you take 3% damage per hit, regardless of what the hit is, while in Magma Shell, and you give a big damage shield to the group. Corrosive Armor, you hit people that are close to you for a fuck ton more, and all the damage you do ignores resistances. And you get hit harder than this. So, defensive, but aggressively offensive. And this one's just defensive. The fact that you can stack this with Elfbane now actually makes this fucking disgusting, because you'll have 15 seconds worth of ignore resistances on all damage. So, that's fucking insane. The 3 ultimates are a tough choice as to which one you would like to take, which is not a negative. Before, it was gap closer, obvious damage, and survival. And now they are... Even though it's a minor adjustment in some areas, like activation-wise, they are worlds apart from each other now, so choice is a factor when it comes to this. However, they do feel like they're still forcing the take flight, or whichever fucking morph it was, to encourage extra damage. So, this is whatever you're doing now, smack stuff. The other one is in line with the flame breath, so they are still forcing a combo. Whatever. PvP application of this would be fucking insane. This morph has always struggled to be decent damage ultimate outside of PvP, despite presenting as an incredibly potent one. Additionally, a lot of the balance for the ultimate felt counterintuitive to the class design, failing to amplify the core part of their kit. I disagree with this. This morph has always struggled to be decent damage ultimate outside of PvP. I don't think you've encouraged it to be that much stronger inside of PvE environments, because the other one is stronger. This is more for you. Because if you're in a group that's got pen stripping bonuses already, the fact that you go through resistances is irrelevant. Granted, the flame damage is going to do 300% more than it did before, but it didn't really do that much. So I think the banner or the jump is still going to outplay this. The only difference is, while doing a little bit more damage than you normally would, ignoring the fact there's a pen bonus because you might already hit cap anyway, you just take less damage while doing it. I still feel like this is heavily PvP orientated, which is not a bad thing, but I don't feel like they've hit the mark here by trying to make it much more useful in PvE environments. Additionally, a lot of the balance for the ultimate felt counterintuitive. Read that one already. Damage over time effects. To compensate for making this more of a damage ultimate, we're dialing back how tanky you become while it's active, and we'll continue to monitor these effects. In general, seeing a Dragonknight activate this should still instill immediate fear into the enemy. Of course it does, because you are still taking a fuck ton less damage than you normally would if you weren't using the ulti. Superheated Ward. This is Stone Fist. This is changing. This is now a magical ability. Offering wasn't a dragon, or was it Talos? I don't know. Grant you and an ally a sizable damage shield, scaling off your magical or stamina, so highest offensive stat. Increase the cost to 4590 at base. Think of this as a superheated the air around your target to intensely that it prevents harm from coming through. Okay. So, a fire shield. This should help the support-orientated Dragon Knights have more direct option to protect their allies while offering something completely different from the standard burst healing effect. So, healing ward-ish. Igneous-ish. Bit weird. Crap load of patch notes. You're not wrong. I'm staring at the screen. My eyes are going all fucked. You or an ally. So it's a healing ward shield without a heal, but it's a shield. Scaling off of magic or stamina. So if you're trying to shield a DPS, you get a big shield. Why 1? We've already... I mean, they'll stack, sure. Anyway, whatever. We'll move on. Obsidian Shard. This morph adds a healing effect when the shield ends to offer some supplementary healing to those you protect. It's fucking Healing Ward. It also reduces the next instance of damage taken by 10% from any attack. Quite nice. Means the following. The shield is replaced, the shield's duration runs out, or if the shield breaks. So, I mean, they'll stack, and that's an interesting tool to have on top of it, but I don't feel like you've done anything massively different there apart from this part. We've already seen stuff like that. Magma Fist. The morph continues to be focused on stamina morph for damage dealers at range and some support functions behind it, but significantly simpler to use. This morph now deals flame damage instead of physical. DK does no physical damage anymore. It's just pure flame. Again, all 7 classes I anticipate are going to have their own unique elements, which I've already spoken about. And I would anticipate that if the DK is fire, the Necro is disease, and the Nightblade is bleed, I would imagine that the new class that we'll get after the 7 have been updated would be poison. Again, it pigeonholes people because their mindset is, ooh, it's just fire, I'll use just fire sets. And that doesn't limit the choices, but it limits the interaction with those choices because people will tunnel vision. Again, it will turn it a little linear. Where did I get to? This morph no longer splits between 2 distinct versions or has cast times. This morph debuff has been renamed to Heat Shock, originally Stagger, and lasts 10 seconds up from 5. Good, because that was really fucking awkward. And now causes enemies to take 33 more damage from all sources per stack, down from 65. This morph no longer stuns enemies on the 3rd cast. For those that aren't familiar with it, you basically stomp, which is kind of a bar locker because it's a very slight channel, or cast time if you like, and then the 3 hits after it insta, and then you stomp again, and then the 3 hits after it insta, and you have to keep it up all the time. It's in the Murder of Fire build. Put Murder in the chat if you want to read more about it. They've changed it so you don't get stuck on that anymore, and you can just spam it. But while it offers less overall damage for the group, it is far fucking easier to use. And the timer is much clearer as well, so there's less room for error, especially inside mechanics. We're updating Magma Fist, called Stone Giant, to feel less clunky and obstructive. I already made a perfect rotation, so it's not, but it is a problem for people. To use by removing the cast time on its debuff effects, while also taking some of the power out of its original spiked armor. What? Out of its original spiked armor now grants some of what power? Oh, some of that power back to the caster. Okay, so the other skill has been altered in lieu of this. The duration increases are meant to make the effect easier to keep up in tandem with other adjusted ability timers, but we're aware that there is an enjoyment of the upkeep mastery that the tighter duration calls for, so we may move to an in-between timer like 6 to 8 seconds. If you're going to use it as an active spammable, I mean, in line with your other dots, I mean, every 5 seconds would still make sense. But if it's not an active spammable and it's something that you just need to maintain, then of course the longer duration makes sense instead. So you need to make your mind up which one of the two that's going to be. Whether it's an active upkeep of a debuff, or something that you are encouraged to spam more often. If they want you to use it as an active spammable over other things, then they need to shorten the timer. If not, then it's fine where it is. Molten Weapons. This ability in its morphs now causes the caster's light and heavy attacks to deal an additional hit of flame damage up to once every 2 seconds. This damage is akin to sticky damage over time effect in the terms of number scaling and should add some more value to this skill line for damage dealers. That means, depending on what damage output that applies, that is effectively like running the poison set from Sanctum Ophidia. I think it was Sanctum Ophidia. Venomous. No, not Venomous. Forgot what it's fucking called. You do damage once every 2 seconds or so for light and heavy attacks. Poison damage, specifically. That set, but fire, attached to your class. I feel like I've forgotten what that's called. Yeah, Vicious Ophidian, Celerity, and then the other one. Doesn't matter, but it's that one. This ability in its morphs now lasts for 6 seconds rather than 6.67. Increase the duration of Major Mendon granted by this ability, and Ignis Shield morphs to 4 seconds up from 2.5. Fair enough. 67. 67? 6.67. That's still 6.7 if you round up. Shut up. It's nitpicky. It was fucked in the first place. It's now full 6 seconds. If you're going to correct every missed word, Phoenix, I'm going to tell your mum that you're up past bedtime. You don't know the 67 meme? Shh. Yes, sometimes. Only on a Tuesday. It's Monday today. Oh no, it's Tuesday now. Yeah, I definitely do. My bad. We're past midnight. Fragmented shield. 6, 7. Yes, we got it. Fragmented shield. This morphs damage. I'm trying to keep on topic. This morphs damage shield now scales with the height of your maximum magical or stamina. Oh, I missed this one. Increase self shield size by 12%. Morph no longer ranks up in power for their allied shield strength. So yours is stronger. Great. Almost Immortal Warrior will thank you, but it doesn't apply minor brutality anymore because it comes from draconic power, so whatever. Fragmented shield. This morphs damage shield now scales with higher of your magical or stamina, so offensive stat based. Rather than health. This shield is capped at 31% of the recipient's maximum health. Reduce the duration of major mending from this morph to 6 seconds, down from 6.67. So this one has got longer major mending, and this one has got slightly shorter, but it makes more sense. Blessed are the users giving us a new funnier number, right? Amazing. Petrify. This ability in its... He's doing it again. He can't help himself, can he? He's just, as soon as you get an audience, like, I gotta shout on stage. I'm busy. Petrify. This ability... Thank you, Phoenix. Ability in its morphs have seen some adjustments to enable more counterplay in PvP, while also gaining some additional effects for PvE. These abilities no longer instantly stun the target and ignore block and dodge. I mean, that's loaded, but whatever. Instead, these abilities now begin to encase the target in molten rock for 1 second while snaring them by 50% and immediately applying minor breach for 10 seconds. So minor breach in the toolkit for the DK. After this 1 second window, the target will be stunned for 4 seconds or 8 seconds if they're a monster. Individual stuns. Reduce the cost to 3780 at base, which ranks down to 3510 at rank 4. To account for the melee stipulation of this ability, the stun from these abilities still ignore block, but can now be dodged. This ability and Fossilized Morph no longer deal damage when the stun ends. You did a lot of backflips. Why don't you just say short range stun with minor breach? Also, you're applying that to single target, while your chain already applies a stun CC to single target. If you want people to take advantage of active close range stuns, it makes sense that they can apply them when they pull something in. So I would argue that over time they need to remove the hard CC, i.e. stun mechanic, from chains, much like they did with Rush of Agony, in order to allow for pull, stun, pin, rather than pull, I can't stun. Because now you've got to choose one or the other. It's been like that for a long time, but it's something that they should probably iron out. Fossilize. This morph now adds minor vulnerability and increases the duration of minor debuff effects to 17 seconds, ranking up to 20. This morph also continues to immobilize after the stun ends. So, I mean, you got to root and stun at the same time, sure. Takes away the point in claws. Shattered Rocks. This morph keeps the damage and healing to stun end. Increases the amount of damage and healing done by 15% to account for the new delay. I don't think they're finished with that skill, because that is still rather finicky. But a lot of that is due to some of the base mechanics. I do think that pulls should not apply a hard stun, because visually and actively, they're two different things, really. I mean, you would think that you can pull something in and pin it, which you can with Immobilize, but you can't with stun, so that is counterintuitive when it comes to newer players trying to understand how the fuck CC works. Earth Spike Mantle was called Spike's Armor. This ability in its morphs now increase your damage done by 100 on all hits, while active, rather than causing you to deal damage back to the melee attacker. So encouraging you to put Spiked Armor on, as in actively use it as a resistance buff, rather than have it for resistances and get like a perk from it or not bother. Volatile Armor, as I said, short stream. Patch notes said, hold my beer. Yeah, a little bit. It's the only beer I've got as well. This morph's damage over time effect now scales with your offensive stats rather than your armor. Additionally, when dealing damage with the effect, you add 1 additional stack of, wait for it, in the name of Identity, the Dragonknight, Fire and Fury, you add 1 additional stack of Avalanche up to once every 10 seconds. I don't want to be that guy, but tell me I'm wrong. Avalanche sounds like it belongs on a Warden. You are trying to be transparent and consistent, apparently, yet you have named something icy and snowy for something that is made of fire. Season? Season 001. Fire? Avalanche. You're shouting words that sound cool, but you're not making sense. Whoever made up this idea, think about it again. Still an award and passive, it seems. It sounds like it, doesn't it? Up to once every 10 seconds anyway. So this morphs damage over time effect now scales with your offensive stats rather than armor. When you deal damage with the effect, you add 1 stack of avalanche up to once every 10 seconds. There's a big gap to apply something once every 10 seconds. Earth Shield Mantle. Originally hardened armor. Name update to match original change. Okay, that's it. Scaled armor. Just a name change inspired by lovers of rocks and stones. So, one hand is not talking to the other. Listen. Just a name change inspired by lovers of rocks and stones. Perfectly fine, considering that this is a rocky skill line, okay? Yet, fire, avalanche. Heart of Stone because of rocks and stones. Avalanche because of fire? I'm not trying to be aggressively negative towards this. I'm looking forward to changes, and I would be stupid if I didn't voice concerns about things that don't line up. That does not line up. Every 5-year-old that you say avalanche to is going to think snow falling off a cliff. They're not going to think volcano. They know what a volcano is. They've made one in class. Rock avalanche is okay, fire is not. Not rock avalanche. Rock slide, landslide, something like that. Quake, earthquake, whatever. Rock avalanche is trying too hard. Avalanche full stop shouldn't be used. What the fuck is this? It's not ESO. Maybe they were going for rockfall or landslide and couldn't find the term. I mean, we've said it now, so they can do it. Why are you not playing? Let's go back to the beginning of this, because it's gone all the way through and found some other shit now. Yeah, I played this for you, so why not? I need you to be extremely aggressive. I'm not trying to. I'm just underlining that there is a problem. If I didn't underline that there was a problem, I'd be blind, wouldn't I? That is not right. For a very expensive development company to not notice that as a problem, something's wrong. You missed something. Battle Roar has been changed to Avalanche. Before it was, roar, I get loads of stacks of stuff. Now it's like, ooh, snow. This passive causes you to slowly build stacks of Avalanche when dealing damage, up to once every 5 seconds at max. Avalanche grants 1% damage done per stack, maxed out at 10. Excuse me? So you need a substantial amount of time to get to max stacks. Listen, give me your best, Karen. Okay, I need it. Failing to do damage for 2 seconds causes you to lose a stack. I mean, you want upfront burst and control, and then you give us this extension of stack mechanics. Failing to deal damage for 2 seconds causes you to lose a stack, but you can only put a stack on once every 5. So if the fight is 30 seconds long, you're not going to max them out. Maybe we should make a change petition on the PTS. They can still fix this. No. That happened before. It's fucking sad. So, someone in the chat, do 5 times 10 for me. Just for mental clarity. Just so everyone else can see it. Do 5 times 10. Oh, wait. 50. Correct. So, to get the maximum of 10% increased damage done, I need to be in the fight for 50 seconds. But every 2 seconds that I don't do damage, which I probably will because I'm doing damage over time, I lose a stack and have to fight for another 5 seconds to get it back. So short fights, big trash pulls, all that kind of stuff, you can't even take advantage of your burst potential because you're waiting. And Avalanche not only is Reliquin all over again, yeah. Not only is an avalanche to do with snow, but last time I checked, my fucking camera's died. Fix, please. Oh, fuck me. I'll get back to this. Let me change the screen. Oh, it's fixed. Last time I checked, an avalanche falls pretty fucking fast. So they could argue that your buffs are falling fast if you fail, but your build-up. Pyroclast would be a better name. There's lots of better... That's a good one, actually. But there's lots of better names that could have come from this. They'll be dead before 50 seconds on a short figure? Exactly. I mean, the amount of increased damage that they're adding to the actual overall base skills would defeat the object of having this passive. I'll be honest, some of this stuff is cool. This is not. I don't like the name. I don't like the way it's applied. Don't like it at all. Now, bear in mind, there is another skill here that does allow you to have avalanche up to once every 10 seconds as well. So that would line up with this. So technically speaking, I mean, every 10 seconds you'll get 2. So if you were to use this skill, if I'm reading this right, you could do it in 25 seconds instead of 50. But, stay with me, this is what I said earlier. Lava flow, love that. That's actually really good. I feel like they're pigeonholing your choices by forcing you to make set-in-stone path choices or else. So they want to give you the encouragement to use this for damage, but if you don't, this passive is slower. So they're making you do this. You have to do this to take this. So why would you not put it on? Then you have to use the leap before the breath. So why would you not put it on? And so it feels like they're already deciding which passives and skills you're going to slot before you've even decided how to make your build. Feels like it's been done for you. You feel like you're being handheld or punished for not doing it. I don't feel like they're actually options. I feel like they are things that players are going to feel like they have to do. And in a game with billions of choices, I do feel like they're tunnel visioning the mindset of the player in order to make everything else less, and I'm going to use their word against them here, viable, in order to make this more linear. It's like they expect us to do the math while build crafting, right? I've gone flying past fucking stuff now. Right, let's have a look. For class focused on attrition combat, there was a distinct lack of passive support to really emphasize that experience. Bollocks. Battle Roar was great. They've still got it. It's in a different thing. This new passive should help give a powerful offensive advantage over the course of a fight if you can use a toolkit appropriately and continuously while losing momentum if you can't stick to your opponent. Did you read this? This new passive, it echoes what I've just said, should help give a powerful offensive advantage over the course of a fight if you can use the toolkit appropriately. They're not giving you tools to choose and construct the setup yourself. They're giving you a toolkit that you need to use appropriately or else. Like, there is a path. Before it was any way you want to fucking play, and obviously there's things that work and don't work, but this is setting a path out for you that you need to follow, or else your toolkit will not be considered to be used appropriately, and therefore you will be punished for it. That is a linear mindset. That is a linear design, and that is something that ESO generally didn't do until obviously the Necromancer and the Arcanist came in. And they're enforcing that on the base classes. Pinch of salt, moving on. Blessing at peak, originally Mountain's Blessing. Just an updated name. Minor Brutality effect was removed to Elder Dragon passive, fair enough, to offload how support focused this skill line was. Before you were using the Earth and Heart skill line to supply that buff to the group, now you use Draconic Power. If you're using the Almost Immortal Warrior, that's neither here nor there, because you're using it anyway. Ozzy B, hello motherfucker to you. Mountain Giant, used to be called Helping Hands. See, Mountain. They didn't say Iceberg Giant, did they? This passive has been reworked and now causes your fully charged heavy attacks to apply off balance to the target. So they're encouraging you to heavy attack before you whip. That is a play style leading path, by the way. Off balance is available in many different ways, from blocking a heavy attack that hits you, from lightning wall of elements and applying concussion with inside of it, and lots of other skills in the game. This is telling you you need to heavy attack to apply off balance, taking away its unique way to apply it in other areas and forcing it on the class. Which is leading you, obviously, if you read the skills, to do the whip afterwards. So you have to do this, then the whip. Why would you not, right? Rank 2 improves restoring 1430 stamina whenever you complete a fully charged heavy attack. This passive no longer restores stamina when activating an Earth and Heart ability, as we've increased passive restore in both Combustion and Storm Voice. Storm Voice doesn't make any sense, sounds like a sorcerer. while also adding a new resource restore tool for the core flame. So they've basically made it so instead of using an Earth and Heart ability to get resources back, you do a heavy attack and it gives you whatever your weapon gave you and stamina as well. I'll have to check those notes for sure. There's so much new stuff too. I've been reading through the whole thing. I'll put the stream up on YouTube afterwards. Not today, but maybe tomorrow. Aussie B! Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well this year. Dude, you're the Dragonborn. Thank you very much. Where's the button?
Fight, Dragonborn.
We are getting there, people. We're making this passive a bit more support focused by giving an easier, more controllable way to apply off balance. Apply that to the base game, not to a unique class. Additionally, rather than completely removing the sustain aspect of the passive, we're making it a little more agnostic, so more than supports or tanks can benefit from it, while bumping up the payout if you can land the activation. The effect will remain as stamina only to help reinforce the melee-focused nature of the class, where that extra stamina can go towards helping use core combat mechanics more frequently to avoid dangerous area of attacks or stick to your targets. You're saying that melee ability is... I'm gonna read what they've said. The effect will remain as a stamina only to help enforce or reinforce the melee-focused nature of the class. That sounds like if you're melee, you are stamina focused. Yet, Burning Embers and Engulfing Flames, as you know them, are close range tools, and they have a magical morph in melee range, as does your whip. You've conflicted with what you're trying to say. Rip indeed. You've underlined in your notes that you are assuming the player is using stamina-focused skills because they're in melee range, therefore you're giving them stamina back. But your entire toolkit, even the Magicka versions, are melee range. Now, it will help you, obviously, if you've got a dodge, block, break free, all that kind of stuff, yes. It will help you if you are using predominantly stamina-based stuff, yes. But you are stating that melee stuff is that. Time for subclassing, perhaps? No, I don't think so. I think there are lots and lots of different voices talking to each other, and not too many ears listening. I think there's lots of, hey, this will be cool, kind of all thrown in, and no one's really vetted the whole thing to completely check it over overall to make sure it's consistent. There are a couple of issues here, not that necessarily support their goal, but certainly confuse people. Sounds worse? Yeah, unfortunately. One of my magical-based necromancer DPS builds would like a word. Oh dear. I understand what they're trying to do, but wording is important, and people do hang on what things mean, and they should, and some of it is inconsistent. Anyway, DK stuff aside, we have to test it, we have to see what happens, and we'll go from there, and I'll make videos and all the rest of it, and obviously, as it happens, builds will be updated. On the surface, some of it is okay, some of it I do think is a good idea. Some of it I do not. And some of it I think lacks consistency, especially when they're trying to explain one thing and mean another. And I do believe that some of the wording is not necessarily correct, especially Avalanche and Storm Voice and stuff like that. And I do feel like they're going very, very linear with their design. And instead of actually just saying we're going linear, they are mentally limiting your choices because they understand the average player goes, ooh, fire sets. Oh, this skill does that, must use those. So now you must use those skills, must use that set, and you ignore everything else, so that makes it easier for them to delete it and put it in a box of legendary items you once knew. I feel like that's where they're going. Not to say that that will never necessarily be an overall negative to the game's progress over time, but it does go against their original design. I think they got to a point where they can't scale how much they've got, and they're trying to find a way around it, and it feels like... not a sledgehammer, but a diversion path that people will inevitably mentally go down in order to help forget about the other stuff. Nightblade, Assassination, mark target. Fix an issue where multiple users of this ability and its morphs could not benefit from the on-death proportion of the abilities when used against the same target. So the debuff doesn't apply to multiple versions of it because it's one major in itself. It's a major breach. But the heal return was only working for one person. That works for everybody. Master Assassin, the passive no longer displays its effects on your character sheet. Fun fact, this passive was treating you as a valid target in the calculation for the UI results. And since entering your character sheet visibly turns your character to face you, the camera on your client, but your actual character remains facing forwards, it could count as a success of you flanking yourself. I've seen that happen, and I thought it was the other group member in front of me. At this point, the class skills should adapt to the max resource or the one of the most there, but they forget they implemented hybridization. There you go. Now, they have done that for some of them, but not all. Take flight is already maxed at 45k lead. Not necessarily. Seems like it might make it easier for players to make an effective build. Sounds like. I mean, yes, but that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is any class, any race, any role, play your way. The point is to have billions of possibilities, which they do have, and lots of things that people will never even fucking try because there's too many possibilities. There are so many different combinations of sets alone before you consider whether they're good or bad that it would take you more than 9,000 years to try everything if you did it once a second. It's not a made up number, by the way. I've got figures for it elsewhere. We'll go into that another day. And I feel like they're trying to squash it down by almost leading the player's mindset into what they want them to do rather than what the player wants to do. It's one of those things where they offer you a really simple puzzle and you feel smart because you figured it out, but they basically gave you the hand-holding tools in the first place to do it. It's a mental game. What we do know after all the changes, Zai's builds are meta biz and totally viable. Shut up, James Bond. There, oh dear. Dark magic, sorcerer. Crystal weapon. Fixed an issue where this visual effect of this ability were ending earlier than intended on our client. We're still rendering their shadows. What? We're still rendering their shadows afterwards. Okay. The shadow and crystal should now persist for their intended duration. Dawn's Wrath, Radiant Destruction. Fixed an issue where the visual effect of this ability and its morphs could become stuck or play on the wrong target when affected or activated repeatedly. Yeah, that's fucked anyway. Sometimes it doesn't even show. Weapon skill lines. Two-hander. Here we go. DK Bomber there. I've got a DK Bomber. Had one for years. Killed 4 people running around a tree. They got really mad and told me to stay in PvE. I think maybe they should visit PvE. Berserker Strike. The ultimate and the Berserker's Rage Morph duration effects now last 12 seconds up from 8. Good. Versus corrosive armor and all that kind of stuff. Other tools that you have access to in the game. I do believe that this is a very short timer for an ultimate, considering it's like 150, 175, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it's enough to warrant a longer timer, especially since things like Dawnbreaker last, what, 20 seconds and shit like that for the actual buff that you get. 12 seconds is a significant increase, given it like a 50% on top of what it had. Thank you for the follow. And flat out, fair enough. Onslaught. This morph now grants penetration for all damaging attacks and 100% critical strike chance for 5 seconds, rather than only granting pen for direct damage attacks. That might be broken as fuck. Crit chance strike being 100% for 5 seconds. Odd timer, considering this lasts 12. I mean, for the sake of consistency, make it make sense. It's either half the timer or all of it, not a weird percentage of it. But if you can build ulti incredibly fast, this could be broken as fuck. I don't know why they chose to do that. I don't know why they chose to add 100% critical chance on top of pen on all damage. And I don't know why they made an awkward timer. This morph now grants pen for all damage and attacks and 100% critical chance for 5 seconds. Okay, I see what you mean there. Rather than only granting it for direct damage attacks for 8. So it lasts 12. But Onslaught has this effect for 5. So your initial burst. That's going to be really annoying, actually, because if you go against someone with like full impen and loads of resistances, the resistances are going to be fucked, but you're still going to be bouncing off impen. So it's going to be wet as fuck. In fact, it'll be worse. That will be worse. Listen carefully. PvP, you're against a target, right? Fuck tons of impen. Your crit chance is down. You're using the fucking ring that reduces your crit damage by 50% and increases all your flat damage, whatever. If you go through their resistances, but you hit their raw health with your damage, you're hitting as hard as you can versus them. If they have impen and you guarantee crit, they are now stronger against you. Oops. If you're against two-handers, pray that you've got fucking impen. Because if they're going to 100% crit strike chance for 5 whole seconds, they are hitting nothing but fucking air. Oops. We're testing the waters with this change to see if it helps their ultimate be slightly more PvE viable. 5 seconds worth of 100% crit chance is like mechanical acuity on fucking crack. Sure, you can control that if you've got high ulti regen, yes. But in PvP, if anyone tries to use this, and they will, that's going to be fucky. While also being less restrictive to use in most cases. To counteract these massive power increases, we're also toning down the duration. The incentive to push the attack is there. No. You're going to have to pick your targets really carefully. People might be less inclined to use this in PvP scenarios, and for PvE, I think they're probably going to go for some other options. I mean, it's bursty, but when do you need 5 seconds worth of burst in PvE? You want burst and consistency, or high execute. You don't want 5 seconds worth of burst. What are you going to do against, alright, Zara, 31 million fucking health. 5 seconds worth of crit chance guaranteed. Yay! Now what? I mean, imagine using that with mechanical acuity as well. You need non-crits in order to make sure that the crit stacks bonus. Bonus stacks. If this is applied while you're on cooldown, and then the cooldown kicks in, you can't actually apply the fucking set because it runs out straight away. So, apply it with the first light attack. 20% bonus. 100% chance here. Set falls off. Gotta wait another 25 seconds. Don't do that, basically. Berserker Rage. Fix an issue where the crowd control, snare, and immobilization immunity granted from this ultimate fail to activate if the ability was dodged. Fair enough. You ain't ever seen what I can do in 5 seconds of burst. What, against a trial boss? I bet you can kill it. I bet you can kill it in 3. Yeah, he just runs into Hellra, activates the synergy on hard mode, and goes, no, I can kill the whole group, though. Uppercut. Reduce the cast time of this ability and its morphs to half a second to match their new animations. Momentum. Increase the duration of this ability and rally morph to 30 seconds up from 20. It's not too bad. I mean, it is one of those finicky things where things happen so fucking fast that 20 seconds is literally nothing. But obviously that does mean you're going to have to hold it for longer if you want the big bonus out of rally. This morph now heals 50% more at base. The healing now increases by 20% every 2 seconds. Up to a maximum of 200 rather than 15 every 1, up to a maximum of 300. Oh shit. In addition to the base increase, this results in a 12.5% maximum potency, which is reached at the 20 seconds mark. So at 20 seconds, you'll get a bigger heal than you normally would, but if you have it running for longer, then... I mean, it's allowing you more time, but it's also making you think a lot more on the ball. You're going to have to be very careful about when you do and don't apply it rather than just letting it run out at that point, because lots of people just let it fall off and just take it. Full momentum, this morph now lasts 1 minute up from 40 seconds. Is that really necessary? Oh dear. Scriben, Elemental Explosion. We have updated the animation of Elemental Explosion so you are not knocked out of first-person perspective when casting. Okay. Nothing to do with the awkward timing that it's got. Companion outfits. Fixed an issue where the randomized feature of outfit stations was incorrectly taking the headgear slot to account randomizing outfit dies for companions. Itemizations and sets. We've got a few here. I'm going to need to Ninja P. I'm going to be here for at least another half an hour. I'll be right back. Cat's chasing me. Okay, gotta make this quick. Chair link, thank you very much. Right. Blah, 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 blah. Fix some issues. Right, sets. Antiquities. Shatters Path Signet. One piece. Oh, new sets. Hello. Increases your damage done with status effects by 1% for every 1 ultimate you have, up to 170%. Holy shit, hello, focused efforts. Both the current and maximum damage is halved against players. While you have 170 or more ultimate, your light and heavy attacks apply a random status effect up from once every 4 seconds. Sorry, up to once every 4 seconds. Excuse me. Applies minor timidity to you, consuming 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds while in combat. So, if you countered that with a Nightblade set, that gives you... No, that costs ultimate, and cancel that. If you had normal ulti regen, you could eventually outplay it. If you had Arcases in the group at least, then that would be fucking easy to maintain. What you can't do is stack Adaptive Conquer for too long, because you will have to remain in content or combat aggressively to maintain it. Might mean you consuming 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Yeah, you need to gain... No, you're fine. Fuck that. You get 3 every second. Slower than usual, but to get to 170 and maintain it, as long as you don't leave a fight for too long, that'll be fine. 5 focused efforts. Put that on Status Pro all day long. Monster Masks. Here we go. Crit chance. 2 pieces. Dealing direct critical damage. So beams. Yeah, I know. Applies shivved to your enemy, dealing 0.889 weapon and spell damage. Bleed damage. What? Dealing 0.889 bleed damage and increasing their damage taken from you by 3% for 15 seconds. This effect scales with higher weapon or spell damage. When the shiv target dies, shiv is transferred to the lowest health enemy within 12 meters of the corpse, refreshing the damage and the duration and increasing their damage taken by up to 3%, up to 12. You may only have 1 shiv target at a time. So you kill one, it moves to the next, kill one, it moves to the next, so on and so forth. Much like the Vatatran Hollows set where the Fetcher Flies type thing moves from one target to another. So you can maintain your damage bonus per target as long as one dies. You're only dealing very low bleed damage based on your weapon and spell damage, I would assume. But increases your overall damage done. That's a very odd set. My brain went backwards there. I think I've lost a few years and gone back in time. There's a fucking time machine built into the wording of this. I think I might have summoned a demon. Dealing direct critical damage applies shift to your enemy, dealing not even 1 damage, weapon and spell damage, bleed damage, and increases their damage taken from you by 3% for 15 seconds. This can scale off your highest weapon or spell damage. When the shiv target dies, shift is transferred to the lowest enemy within 12 meters of the corpse, refreshing the damage and duration and increasing their damage taken from you by 3% up to 12. Do you think they've tried to make that too complicated? I'm just asking the chat. Do you think... I understand it, but do you think they're trying to make things too complicated? Because that's some grammatical backflipping shit. Why don't you just say, based on your weapon and spell damage, you do more damage to that target? This is... Versus all this, you must do this or else. This is fucking weird. Alright, whatever. Flat damage increase. Great. So instead of Zahn with loads and loads of fire damage, you're just going to increase beam damage to fucking back. Further incentivizing one particular way to play. Glittering Goad. 1 piece is weapon and spell damage. The other piece, hopefully this one is less complicated. No, it's not. Dealing damage with a bash or heavy attack deals 0.815625 weapon and spell damage, but enter it as 0.203910625 since it's 4 ticks. Frost damage over 8 seconds to the enemy. If the effect completes, the enemy applies minor brittle to up to 6 enemies within 12 meters of itself for 10 seconds. We've got way too much minor brittle anyway, don't fucking need it. If the enemy dies, the enemy releases restorative energy, giving magicka and stamina to you and the group members within 12 meters of the enemy. This can occur once every 8 seconds. A very small resource return bonus once every 8 seconds. If it dies, and a very unsafe statement of what the fuck it actually does. Too many calculations for the computer to apply correctly in a timely manner. Yeah, what they've done here is they've gone into the actual guts of the skill, and instead of releasing actual numbers that humans understand, they've given us basically code. That fucked up. Oh dear, oh dear. So what they're doing here is they're basing the damage off of whatever your weapon and spell damage is. And this is the calculating value that they're using for it. But instead of saying that, they've overly confused people. They're allowing you to put this in your calculator. Fuck off, whatever. I'm not impressed. The Ruckers. 1 health bonus, which is a standard one, 1206. Taking or dealing direct damage grants you 1 stack of enrage for 10 seconds. You can gain enrage once a second up to 10. Lose 1 stack every 5 when not taking damage or dealing damage. At maximum stacks, you no longer gain or lose stacks of enraged, and you gain major protection, major expedition, major force for 10 seconds. When max enrage ends, your stamina, magicka, and health recovery is reduced by 422 for 10 seconds. So major protection, major expedition, and major force for 10 seconds, and then you lose recovery on all sources for 10 seconds for the privilege. I honestly think that's fucking useless. Who's making up these fucking sets? We've had 10 years of successful sets. What the fuck is this? Major expedition can be acquired in many areas. Let's just say, for argument's sake, this is on a Dragonknight, since we're themed on Dragonknights for this update. Major expedition already comes from your toolkit. Major force already comes from a warhorn. Major protection is already in your toolkit. Why the fuck would you want to put something on that gradually stacks up to give you buffs you've already got and then take away your recovery for the privilege? It's very rare. I haven't tested it, so I can't say for sure, but it's very rare that I would say something is useless or completely shit. On paper, you've already fucked these explanations up, but this looks shit. Actually shit. I would not be using that. I can get these easily without the need of losing 422 recovery of all 3 sources. In the chat, people. Yes or no? What in the fucking... Who was smoking what when they made this? There's us. Try again. I don't like it. Right, PvP. Gore Thief. 2 pieces, maximum stamina. 3 pieces, maximum health. Not standardized with normal maximum health bonuses. 4 pieces, weapon and spell damage. 5 pieces, dealing direct damage generates a stack of Blood Thief for every 0.5 seconds. I understand that. And lasts up to 10 seconds, up to 10 stacks. Okay, perfect. Dodge roll to consume a stack and heal yourself for 2k. At max stacks, bash an enemy to consume all stacks and deal bleed damage to enemies within 8 meters of you. So build up loads of stacks, bash and return fire, or dodge roll and get a heal. Make your mind up what you want to set to do. You're overcomplicating it. Dodge roll to get a heal, or bash to get bleed. I think you should have one or the other. You're trying to overcomplicate sets, which would delete the use of many sets out there. Not that this would overtake any, but I think you're trying to overcomplicate these to make other stuff useless, and I don't think you've hit the bill. I don't think you've made it. Gore Thief. I mean, technically, you should bash to bleed and then get a heal from it. In my opinion, build up Blood Thief to max stacks of 10, then bash the enemy within area of effect to get the heal off of it. Must have been high on pot news. They must have been on something fucking strong. If I was them, which I'm not, same dude who came up with Avalanche, indeed. If I was them, instead of doing this, which is backflipping around a very complicated way to make a unique set once we've got 600 of them already, build stacks, bash, and heal from damage done. That would be fine for me. Or that one, or that one. One or the two. Don't have both. Class sets. Basalt Warrior, fixed an issue where this set did not properly update when bar swapping. Fair enough. When sprinting even. Twice one star, fixed an issue where the set wouldn't display the second active Mundustone on your character sheet. Fixed an issue where the two-handed weapons did not count as 2 pieces or equipped with this set in some cases. Ring of the Pale Order, fixed an issue where healing taken from companions was disabled while wearing this set, despite stating otherwise. And the rest is fixes and improvements and bits and pieces. I didn't see it, so I'm going to assume it isn't there. And I'm going to skip most of this because I need to get off the stream, but this is mostly quest, base game stuff, etc, etc. Nothing like over the top when it comes to sets and skills because we've already done that bit. Why are food issues in the stat sheet still not looked at? Why is crit chance still confusing with stats versus percentages in the stat sheet? And why is the stat sheet itself not really lined up with modern day changes that they've kind of added to the game to stop having so many issues with them? Just saying bash to get a heal, or who the fuck is going into a high intensity moment thinking of bashing to activate a set, or dodge rolling instead? I mean, having one activation of a skill to make it do something is fair enough, but having two different variants, you're making it too complicated. Also, you're making room for error, because what about if they want to build it up, and then do a quick sneaky dodge roll while they're building it, and in return after the dodge roll ready for a bash and splat of loads of damage, and then it's tough shit you got to heal instead. That takes away the intention and adds room for mistakes. This for PvP? Yeah. So imagine you build up what you think is like 8 or 9 stacks. You do a sneaky dodge roll. You want to build up the next 2 for a quick bash afterwards. You can't because you accidentally built up 10 and took a heal instead. Oh, sorry. Right. Let's be honest about this. I'm looking forward to the changes, and I will be testing the fuck out of them and updating builds as and when necessary when this does go live. And I'll approach it with an open mind like I do with everything else. But on the surface, I do think that they are not very transparent. Some of the wording is confusing. Some of the ideas are early ideas, I know, but they are enforcing a damage increase at flat, which I'll lead into in a moment, alongside a set path of skills they intend you to use, alongside a set theme that they intend you to explore. I feel like they're trying to take away a lot of the variables in the game that you would normally pay attention to or possibly consider options, and instead of removing them from the game, they're making people less likely to press them or use them, which invokes a linear path or design. It feels like they're introducing some key-based content in the future, so you have to unlock this to get this, which again is linear. And I also think that they're introducing the ceiling versus the floor scenario because they're increasing the flat damage of it rather than underlining the fact that lined up with other stuff it will be even fucking stronger, because it will. I think they're trying to set a DPS ceiling. Lots of direct, lots of channeled, lots of stack and bonuses, or else. Which means we are probably going to look forward to Final Fantasy-based bosses, where if you don't have X, Y, and Z DPS, which ESO is very limited to, we have very little of that, then you're fucked. So I think they've got to the point where instead of learning just mechanics, we are going to be pushed into, you must do this in this order with this set or it won't work. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. But we'll see. Testing stuff on live is what this is all about. Battle Pass remains to be seen. Obviously, that's going to jump in and out during the PTS cycles. And the DK stuff having a refresh, that is inevitably going to change along the way. But we'll see where it is on its surface during this week, during the streams, and possibly off stream as well in Secret Ninjas chat and stuff like that. I'm not against necessarily all of it. I do have to test it to have a proper opinion on it. But there's a lot of stuff that is fluffing the pillows. A lot of stuff that should have happened before. A lot of stuff that is moving goalposts, and a lot of stuff that is very different to the original design and intention and sales pitch of the game. And I feel like we are going for a bit of a shift now where it's going to lead into a linear design outside of the already horizontal progression that we have. That's where I think we're going. Not to say that's positive or negative, but that's where I feel like we're leading to. Anyway, fuck it. This is going to go on YouTube. If you're on YouTube now watching this in the future, hi, we knew you were coming. Failing that, if you want to take advantage of the comment section on YouTube, keep an eye out for this video, and you'll be able to post whatever the fuck you want there. In the meantime, I will get an article out on the website regarding this, and the comment section on the articles for the news page is now actually open, so you can use them, but you do have to be a member of the website. It's free. Join up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.